going on, guys? One second. What's going on, guys? Yeah. You guys seen the craziness going on right now? Let's start it up. Let's see what's going on here. I've already seen some crazy clips.
For an opening statement.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Attorney General Bondi. You've got the best lawyer's job in America because your mission is justice and your clients are the American people. But to promote justice for the people, you've got to listen to the victims, like the women seated behind you today. Those are just some of the hundreds of survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's global sex trafficking ring who are demanding that the truth be told and are demanding accountability for the abusers who trafficked and raped them. You still haven't met with these survivors. So with their permission, let me introduce to you the survivors and late survivors' family members who are present today. There's Teresa Helm, there's Jess Michaels, Laura Bloom McGee,
They
Danny
brought out
Bensky,
some of them.
Liz Stein, Marina Lacerda, Sky and Amanda Roberts, who are the family of the late Virginia Giuffre, Charlene Richard, and Lisa Phillips. Now, you're not showing a lot of interest in the victims, Madam Attorney General, whether it's Epstein's human trafficking ring or the homicidal governmental violence against citizens in Minneapolis. As Attorney General, you're siding with the perpetrators and you're ignoring the victims. That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there.
Just remember, guys, the Dow is up 50,000. Epstein files? Who's talking about this guy still? She lost her shit. It's not a good look.
And you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative stuff. In the half you did produce, you redacted the names of abusers, enablers, accomplices, and co-conspirators, apparently to spare them embarrassment and disgrace, which is the exact opposite of what the law ordered you to do. Even worse, you shockingly failed to redact many of the victims' names, which is what you were ordered to do by Congress. Some of the victims had come forward publicly, but many had not. Many had kept their torment private, even from family and friends, but you published their names, their identities, their images on thousands of pages for the world to see. So you ignored the law, and even with over 100,000 employees at your disposal, you acted with some mixture of staggering incompetence, cold indifference, and jaded cruelty towards more than 1,000 victims raped, abused, and trafficked. This performance screams cover-up. Convicted sex trafficker and groomer Ghislaine Maxwell opened the gates of hell to Virginia Giuffre and hundreds of other victims, as Virginia recorded in her remarkable...
Will anything happen? Like, what will come of this? Now, this is a great litmus test for what's left of our government and its legitimacy. She's getting questioned or she's testifying at the DOJ oversight hearing. And is there going to be fallout from this? Is she actually going to have to resign from her position? Will there be prosecutions, investigations, and is somebody's head going to roll? This is our litmus test, guys, for our republic, if we can keep it.
Book, Nobody's Girl. But when Maxwell was subpoenaed to come testify before Congress, you and Todd Blanche quickly moved her from a higher security prison to a minimum security camp in Texas, where she's enjoyed 5-star treatment, including catered meals, private gym time, and access to a therapy puppy. All because Todd Blanche, who's utterly failed to investigate the monstrous
Damn, she's getting wrecked.
crimes of Epstein and Maxwell's co-conspirators spent 9 hours with Maxwell and satisfied himself that she would have nothing untoward to say about Donald Trump.
Wow.
Which is your only real interest in the matter, based on institutional performance. But abandoning victims and coddling perpetrators is what you do best. When the FBI opened a criminal investigation into the brutal killing in Minneapolis of Renee Good, a poet and 37-year-old mother of 3, by Trump's masked paramilitary ICE agents, you shut it down. You claim you're investigating the cold-blooded murder of Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse at the VA. But how can we trust the administration when the president and Kristi Noem call Preddy a domestic terrorist? And Stephen Miller called him a would-be assassin. Not only do you refuse to share evidence with the state and local investigators and prosecutors in Minnesota, you have blocked their access to the crime scene and the evidence. How are you seeking justice for Marimar Martinez, the Montessori school teacher in Chicago who was shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent who bragged about it on text? Or the family of Keith Porter, a father of 2 shot and killed by an off-duty ICE agent in LA? Or the family of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, shot and killed in Illinois minutes after he dropped his kids off at school? There's no sign of any movement at the Department of Justice. You even launched a criminal investigation into Renee Good's grieving widow. How sick is that? But it's even worse. You've turned the People's Department of Justice into Trump's instrument of revenge. Trump orders up prosecutions like pizza, and you deliver every time. He tells you to go after James Comey, Letitia James, Lisa Cook, and Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve Board, and members of Congress like Adam Schiff.
Wasn't Biden directing the DOJ to label parents domestic terrorists because they didn't want their kids getting trained up? So please spare me that bullshit.
Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, Chrissy Houlihan, Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzio, and Maggie Goodlander, to name a few, and you snap to it. You replace real prosecutors with counterfeit stooges who robotically do the president's bidding. Nothing in American history comes close to this complete corruption of the justice function and contamination of federal law enforcement. The good news is many serious lawyers at DOJ, including some of your own original appointees, have refused your lawless orders. Danielle Sassoon, your original pick for acting U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, resigned rather than follow your corrupt order to quash an indictment against Mayor Eric Adams as a political favor from Donald Trump. A Federalist Society member who clerked for Justice Scalia, U.S. Attorney Sassoon refused to participate in this blatantly corrupt scheme. Her top assistant, Hagan Scotton, an Iraqi war vet and 2-time Bronze Star recipient who clerked for Chief Justice Roberts, and then Judge Kavanaugh, promptly resigned too, writing to your office, quote, "I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a
long-winded.
The survivors seated behind you and the American people."
Let's get to the fucking question.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God?
I do.
Let the record show that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You can be seated. And please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety.
Let's see what her opening statement is. I haven't seen this.
Your testimony. Madam Attorney General, you may begin.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and distinguished members of this committee. Thank you for hosting me here today. I'm grateful for the opportunity to answer your questions, highlight the work of our department, and discuss the most important topic of all, keeping the American people safe. A little over a year ago, I was sworn into office as the 87th Attorney General of the United States.
Here comes the glazing, the self-glaze.
I came into office with the goal of refocusing the Department of Justice on its core mission after years of bloated bureaucracy and political weaponization. The Department of Justice's core mission is to fight violent crime, protect the American people, and defend the rule of law above all else. While our work is never done, we have made tremendous progress to make America safe again. In 2025, we saw the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That's nothing short of historic.
Historic, boys.
If you compare 25 to 24, here's what you'll find.
Just like
the murder rate
deportation.
is down 21%, robbery down 23%, carjacking down 43%, gun assault down 22%. Ag assault, burglary, could go on and on. Crime is declining. This did not happen by accident. The numbers tell an important yet straightforward story. President Trump has given us the resources, the support, and the leadership to protect the American people.
What's so annoying about this glazing is that everybody on the street, every normal American understands that it's complete bullshit. We know for a fact you're not deporting as many people as you need to. We know for a fact crime is still horrible. We have plenty of surveillance from CCTV cameras seeing criminals get released with like 30 plus arrests. I'm glad that you can pat yourself on the back and act like you're doing a great job while the rest of America feels just as unsafe as they did under Biden. Okay.
President Trump's policies have saved lives. I cannot think of a policy outcome more important than protecting the lives of American citizens. Can you? This trend has been especially clear in Washington, D.C. and in Memphis. These are two iconic American cities that spent years in the grip of horrific violent crime. The Department of Justice surged law enforcement resources, and the results came quickly. Crime plummeted in both cities. And I want to make one point loud and clear. We achieved those results by working with Democratic mayors. Public safety does not have a party registration. When your constituents call 911, they don't ask for political views of the responding officer.
All right, let's watch her get grilled to death.
24. We also located 20...
Job generally is to talk about patents and trademarks as the chairman of that subcommittee. I'll forego that today because one of my other jobs is the creation and maintenance of Article 3 judges, and I work with the Chief Justice on that, and we're trying to expand the court. But currently, there are only 677 district court judges. They have very full dockets as well. But you create a tremendous amount of judges, particularly immigration judges. You do so in order to save the court that, but adjudicate, as is requirement, each of those people who claim a right to be here in the United States. And that has been going on under Republican and Democratic administrations for years. What's unique about the Trump administration this time is that you and President Trump have managed to reduce the backlog of people seeking that for the first time in decades. You are getting ahead of that tremendous backlog that caused, for better or worse, the release of millions of people with little pieces of paper saying, come back later when we call you, and often to no avail when you call. So I want to congratulate you on that because it's an accomplishment you might not take credit for, and the other side...
Hurry up, fuck's sakes.
As demands for state officials to stand aside and allow the production of either an individual or documents, because I think people are missing the point that these ICE retainers and detainers and so on, they act like they're nothing when in fact in the ordinary course, Madam General, you do, in fact, have Article I judges constantly putting those out, and they are respected normally.
Thank you, Congressman, for talking about all the great judges. And if I could add one thing to that, we are always recruiting and looking for judges. So please reach out to our office for these judges who are handling all these very important matters. We've even added some JAG officers as immigration judges.
Thank you.
And so we're continuing to do that, but we're always seeking qualified lawyers as well.
There we go.
To be part of that. And thank you for highlighting that, Congressman.
Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentlelady from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Attorney
Here
General
we
Bondi,
go.
right here. We are joined in this room by some of the thousands of survivors from Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking ring. They have shown such incredible courage in speaking out, in demanding accountability to bring the predators and pedophiles to justice. The Epstein Files Transparency Act required your Department of Justice to disclose the perpetrator.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people want to say, why are we watching this? Or this shit's not important. They're just yapping. They're saying a bunch of nothing. You need to understand the state of your government, because the next round of votes you put in, although they don't really matter because they're chosen by the donor class, in essence, does actually matter overall for your future if we don't actually start getting people in office that aren't the establishment. You understand? Like, if you don't know who the establishment is and where they're coming from and how they're tied and connected, then you're going to vote for more of the same, unfortunately. This is what's happening with Casey Putsch in Ohio. He's just a regular dude. Is he a YouTuber, if I'm not mistaken, going against Vivek Ramaswamy? And the latest polling actually showed that Putsch was ahead of Vivek. Some internal polling. It works if you can get normal people in government. You might have some changes. But this has to happen over and over and over at the local level, transcending into the national level. If Casey Putsch actually does well against Vivek, we have a path. This can be reproduced everywhere. So this is literally our last hope. It's like watching what's going on in Ohio, and can it be reproduced in other districts? If that guy gets steamrolled by all the money Vivek has and the establishment in Vance, you know, putting all their weight behind Vivek, and there was no shot for him to win whatsoever, if it's not even close, we're done. It's fucking over.
Connected with Epstein's criminal activities, and to redact the information of survivors to protect their identities. Let me show you what actually happened. First, in violation of the law, your department has shown a pattern of redacting the names of powerful predators. Here behind me is one example of an email from Epstein to a man whose name was redacted. The email reads, quote, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Only after members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayman, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon. Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture.
That's a good point, though. So we haven't until the last day or so gotten the names of the co-conspirators, like Lex Wessner being a really big one. But somehow she doxed the victims? How's that? That's crazy.
Of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades. To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Are they showing them? Are they going to show them?
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
Wow.
Attorney General Bondi.
Here we go.
You apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
I have a potential nuclear take on this. How many of the women, even if they were underage, okay, how many of the women pretended that they were of age, 18? How many of them were like 16, 17 years old, just wanting to hang out with older guys? It's happened before. It's a thing. How many of these? Because a lot of them kept coming back. So I wonder, knowing what you know about the red pill and sexual dynamics in men and women, how many of these girls simply wanted to hang out with rich, older, wealthy men of esteem and stature and status, and were willing to lie, even if they were, say, 16 or 17, and claimed that they were 18? Think about that. Yes, they could have done some crazy stuff. Yes, they could be eating kids, satanic this, that, with the other, ritualistic sacrifice. Okay, put that all aside for a second. For the older women, for those that were quoted as underage, how many of them actually chose, liked, and kept coming back to seeing these older men? Because listen, that's like, in a sense, sugar babies on demand for rich people. So Epstein has like a harem of girls that he's passing around to all his rich friends. They're doing massages and sexual acts and all this other stuff, and those women keep coming back. So how much money were they making this entire time to just keep willingly performing these acts? Now, I'm not saying that this is all the victims, but it seems like from the files released, from what we've seen so far, quite a bit of them may be in this pile. There you go. That's all. That's my nuclear take on this. Don't know.
Information.
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General
Twice.
Bondi.
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
that's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the
my
answer.
time.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
why?
I have
What a
asked
shit show.
She asked Merrick Garland this twice.
I am reclaiming.
By the way, we have two women reclaiming time. Why didn't you ask the last guy this stuff? Bitch, that's not the question. No one gives a fuck about the last guy. They swept it under the rug. You were brought in to clean up the fucking department. Answer the question. Of course, two chickens yelling at each other, bro. We're not a serious country. Well, you put women in positions of power, this is what you get. Chickens clucking at each other.
My
Sat in my
time, and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the
my
gentlelady's
time.
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you
Chairman.
restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not gonna get
interrupted.
in the
Oh, my
gutter with
God,
this
it already
woman.
started as
Doing
shit show.
theatrics.
And let me have my
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your
Got her
deputy,
ass.
Todd
The time of
Blanche,
the-
met alone
time of the
with
gentlelady
Elaine
has- the
Maxwell
time of the
and
gentlelady has
transferred her
expired.
to a minimum security prison. And now you continue
The
the
time of the
cover-up.
gentlelady
And I
has
wish
expired.
that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human
All right,
level
performative.
Chair now
apologize
recognizes the chair.
for what you have
Unprofessional.
done.
Time of the
I
gentlelady
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady.
Guys, can you imagine going back a couple hundred years and listening, for example, to the founding fathers argue? Can you imagine, like, not oversight hearings, but congressional hearings or Congress in general? And what the level of which they spoke English, the things that they spoke about, the problems that they were discussing for the nation. And then you have this shit. Well, you didn't ask the last guy that, so what? Why are you asking me? Why were you guys hiding it before me? I didn't do anything wrong. Dude's hitting his fucking useless gavel. The lady knocks his gavel. The lady has...
You have no time to yield back.
Theatrics.
We appreciate the thought. And I would
my
argue the
Lord.
central issue in the last election, the presidential election, was
We have
securing
become
the border.
retarded.
The gentleman from Arizona who knows something about securing the border is up for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. In 2022, Lafarge, which is a French cement company, pled guilty in U.S. federal court to participating in a criminal conspiracy with ISIS. That conspiracy contributed to the deaths of U.S. service members fighting in Syria during Operation Inherent Resolve. As part of the plea agreement, Lafarge was required to pay more than $775 million into DOJ's Asset Forfeiture Fund. In February 2025, my colleagues and I sent you a letter urging the department to review the petitions for remission submitted by the families of those fallen service members, including several of my constituents. The previous administration ignored these victims and our requests and left their petitions unresolved. My question for you on this particular issue is if you're willing to work to ensure those families that their petitions will be reviewed and brought to a resolution.
Congressman, we are aware of that, and we're committed to doing everything we can to support the victims and work with you. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, appreciate your answer. And now let's go to something that is also pressing that I've been working on for years, and this is the FISA Section 702 and Arctic frost. In January 2025, you testified before the U.S. Senate and agreed with Senator Lee that, quote, anytime an American citizen's private communications...
Sent $5. The whole judicial system been compromised a long time ago. The sad part here is the guilty party will stay free with no jail time.
Facts. Thank you, bro. I agree. I don't think anything will come of this.
...are intercepted or stored, whether through incidental collection or otherwise, those communications should not be searched without some showing of probable cause, close quote. You still hold that view today, I assume?
Yes.
And during the most recent FISA reauthorization, I offered an amendment to establish a clear warrant requirement for searches of Americans' data while preserving every publicly cited operational exception, including emergencies, defensive queries, cybersecurity threats. And my intent was to ensure the Department of Justice could continue to keep Americans safe while also ending warrantless searches of U.S. persons'
Thanks for the
data.
tips, brother.
Are there any additional circumstances or exceptions that you believe must be included to ensure DOJ can continue to operate effectively while still protecting American citizens' data and privacy?
Yeah, Congressman, we are committed to working with Congress to uncover weaponization and other misconduct by Jack Smith, by others, Arctic frost, everything that happened under the past administration. And We are committed to working with you on that, and we are working with Chairman Jordan, with the House Intel, with all of our my fellow cabinet members on resolving that issue.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad you brought up Arctic frost, because Section 702 was used in the Arctic frost investigation.
It was.
And information derived was used by Special Counsel Jack Smith. And my question has always been, and no one's been able to answer this, is what was the legal predicate for using a foreign intelligence authority in the Arctic frost investigation? Have you been able to ascertain any legal predicate?
Congressman, what I can tell you today is that has been referred to my office. I can't discuss anything regarding that because it is very active and ongoing.
And you probably can't answer this one either, but I really want to know if Section 702 queries related to that matter involved members of Congress, which we know at some level it did, congressional staff, which we know at some level did. We've heard that journalists or other U.S. persons not suspecting of acting as foreign agents.
All right, garbage.
Mr. Chairman,
Here
I
we
want to
go.
begin by acknowledging the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's horrific abuse.
This
who
is
are in
one of the
room with us
explosive ones I
today.
saw.
I want to thank all of you for your bravery in speaking out. I want to say that you and the other survivors of these heinous crimes deserve better from this Department of Justice. In particular, it is
The clip I saw had me agreeing with Nadler of all people, bro.
shocking that the
Please don't make me do that, please.
Tiago King sent $5. Until Valls has been given the unalived penalty for treason/insurrection, all of this is just a dog and pony.
Yeah, you know nothing's going to happen. They're going to find some mid-level idiot. They're going to pin everything on him, her, and it'll all disappear. No one's getting justice. We're not getting all the fraudulent money that was taken back. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to vote in again for somebody that has the interests of the donor class at heart. The circus, yeah. While paying taxes, you know, the most mind-numbing part of all of this is that we're all paying taxes, or all of us that are taxpayers and are not getting any refunds. We're paying taxes. Thousands of dollars are coming out of our paychecks in an already difficult, cost of living situation that the modern economy is in. We can't afford hardly anything anymore. It's expensive for guys to just date. Forget a house and kids and wife and all that shit. You're paying taxes, getting crushed so that people can come over from third world countries and defraud the government and absolutely face no punishment whatsoever. Then they will run back home to their countries with tunes of millions of dollars so they can create their dream life in a shithole. That's crazy. And if you were to say anything and your skin happens to be white, you're a racist. This is white supremacy. We can't tell third worlders to stop stealing from the country. Unreal, dude. God, immigration has been such a boon for America, right?
department did not redact the names of Epstein's victims, but it did redact the names of their abusers. I don't know whether this was done out of incompetence or whether it was deliberate and malicious, but either way, it is completely unacceptable. Even more troubling, the DOJ has failed to bring any of these perpetrators to justice. Instead, it has engaged in a relentless pursuit of Donald Trump's perceived enemies. I want to focus on just one example. The Attorney General of my home state of New York, Tish James. This DOJ has been hell-bent on securing an indictment against Ms. James for something, anything, simply because she held Donald Trump's companies accountable.
Nadler's built like Robotnik from Sonic. You have to say.
For years of financial fraud. And indeed, the department manufactured an investigation against her for alleged, quote, mortgage fraud. But the U.S. attorney leading the investigation, Eric Siebert, a Trump appointee, refused to bring charges against Ms. James because there was simply no evidence. Unfortunately, a prosecutor who refuses to do Trump's bidding has no place in this DOJ, so Mr. Siebert was forced out. Trump could not contain his fury that he expressed to you in a social media post addressed to you by name. I'm sure you've seen it. Quote, I fired him and there is a great case, he wrote to you about Mr. Siebert. Then we moved down. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times.
A lot.
Over nothing. Justice must be served now. And obviously, you followed that order. Lindsay Halligan, Trump's former defense lawyer who had never prosecuted a case in her life, was installed to replace Mr. Siebert, and it was clear that part of her mandate was to go after Ms. James. Halligan immediately sought an indictment, which a court dismissed because Halligan was illegally put into the role. But your department was undeterred, and not once, but twice, it tried to indict Attorney General James in separate courts. Both grand juries rejected you and refused to indict her. It is practically unheard of for a grand jury to refuse an indictment. In 2016, it happened in just 6 cases out of over 150,000 offenses. And you had it happen twice in the same week, in 2 different courts. That must have been humiliating. And now there are reports you are continuing to investigate her. The amount of resources that have gone into targeting Attorney General James, months of investigations, multiple failed indictments, is astounding. Since your own prosecutors told you that there is not enough evidence to support a conviction, it's clear that you were going after her simply because she held President Trump accountable and he wants to punish her. And she is just one name on a long list of Trump political enemies that DOJ is reportedly targeting. From Jerome Powell and Lisa Cook at the Federal Reserve to James Comey, numerous Democratic members of Congress, John Brennan, Jack Smith, Democratic officials in Minnesota, Chris Krebs, Miles Taylors, and more. And those are just the ones we know about. In contrast to these politically motivated investigations, grasping at something they can charge their enemies with, we now have concrete evidence of disgusting criminality revealed in the Epstein files. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
Good question.
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question
ridiculous.
the way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
Wow. The time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
Reclaiming my time.
I think it's very interesting.
You can
that
reclaim
he
your
talks
time.
about they
Reclaiming my time,
indicted.
Mr.
The
Chairman.
president said they indicted him twice.
Mr. Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock and
did.
stop the
he
clock and
indicted.
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New York.
Please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of
I want to go to Mars. Elon, get the rockets ready. I want to leave Earth. Please.
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I am
Mr. Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in order.
time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now,
Jesus.
Mr. Nadler.
Reclaiming
All right.
my time. The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads. It took an act of Congress for you to finally release part of the Epstein files, and when you did, you included personal information about the victims while protecting the names of
What a
abusers.
shit show.
None of
has
the perpetrators have
expired.
been brought to justice, but enormous resources
Time
have been
of the
dedicated
gentleman
to
has
Trump's
expired.
This is a
And
complete
obviously-
Clear that
shit
under
show.
your leadership, the Department of Justice
There
no
was
longer
no
works
question
for
in
American
there.
people. It works
Order
for
respond
Donald
to.
Trump. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
May I answer?
I think our next questioner, Madam Attorney General, is going to give you time to respond to
Thank you, Chairman.
all kinds of things. So we will turn to the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes.
Ms. Bondi, you go right ahead. I'm over here. The time is yours.
Thank you. First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice. And you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against...
Bro, she doesn't answer any questions. Have you noticed? Always deflected. What'd you do? This is such a woman thing. Like, you ever had a girlfriend, you know what I'm talking about. If you're married, you know what I'm talking about. Every time you try to hold them accountable for something, this is why you did this. You did this, made me do this. Because you did. Because of what you said. But what about that one time? We're not talking about that one time. We don't give a shit about that time right now. What we're talking about is now. You're the head of the department. You call the shots. You open the prosecutions up. You haven't done anything. So why haven't you started prosecuting the co-conspirators? And then goes into this long non-answer, bro.
It's Donald Trump. You all should...
Oh my God, let me play this super chat. Jesus. Or not, didn't play. Thanks, brother. Says, for all the entertaining streams, great crowd in here. Perspectives are appreciated. Thank you. I'll just try to have a sensible take. It's not spicy, so it doesn't go viral, but yeah.
Should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do...
Sent $5. She needs to focus on answering the questions instead of putting on theatrics.
She won't, though.
I wish there was something we can do as regular citizens.
The reason she's doing this is because she's going to get away with deflecting. The entire point of this oversight hearing is her deflecting the entire time. This is it. This is all that's happening, you guys. This is a massive deflection. And at least we have on the record of how shitty our government is. At least it's on the record, as if we didn't already know. But you get to truly see the actual incompetence and cover up.
All the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million. And Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them ask Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
Damn, bro. It's done. Who cares about the files? Look, it was Merrick Garland, Obama, everybody but me. This is not my problem. First of all, the motherfucking Dow, bitch. Are you not trading stocks? Don't you got fucking stock portfolios, gang? Come on, we're making money. Think about the stock portfolio. Epstein, who? The economy is great. Look at these numbers. Hey, I looked at my stock portfolio today and I'm posting record profits. Stop grilling me. Holy shit, this is your government. The head of the DOJ. Holy shit. We're done.
The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000.
Wow.
And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings.
She's fucking reading this shit off of a paper, bro. This is your hearing. She's got a paper. She's literally reading the fucking stock prices. We got record Dow, the S&P 500. You, what, bro? Oh, shit. We're trying to grill her. The question literally was, why haven't you indicted any co-conspirators? Hey, guys, let me recite on the paper because I quickly just opened up my trading accounts and I saw we got record fucking money, gang. I made hundreds of thousands. Check this shit out. AI crushing it. S&P 500, Dow, new records. I can't. I want to leave. I want to leave the planet.
Are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have?
I'm black pilling. I had the red hat. We're going black. That's it. I'm black pilling. I don't care. There is no hope. Your own strength is all that matters. The Vegeta speech from Dragon Ball Z. What matters more in this world than your own strength? Spend your life ruled by another. Watch your race dwindle to a handful. And tell me what matters more than your own strength. That's it, dude. That's all you can do in this world. Oh my God.
Cameron Wright 7,341 sent $4.99. How much you want to bet? They approved Colchian betting markets. Because they can insider trade that shit also?
Yep. Vegeta was right. Growing up, your favorite is Goku. Maturing is realizing Vegeta was really the main character. Okay? Unbelievable.
To do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan,
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents.
I want you to think about the victims in the back. You're lined up. You got doxxed by this retard. You potentially were raped and groomed and passed around to rich, powerful men. And the woman, a woman no less, at the Department of Justice is in charge with bringing you actual justice. And then she gets up on the stage and goes, "The fucking Dow, bitch. What are we worried about these victims behind me? Stop crying. Go buy stocks." Oh, wow.
Have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein and our most transparent president in the nation's history. The murder rate, as I said, has
sent $5.
Unreal.
I have no words to describe this BS. At least none that won't get me on a list, assuming I haven't been put on one.
Right. They're making a list with all this AI-powered shit of us.
plummeted to a 125-year low
Lows.
thanks to Donald Trump.
DJ.
For an unprecedented 9 straight months, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. That's what we should be focused on. All the great work that this president has done and will continue.
What about the literal victims right behind you? What about all the missing kids? What about all the blackmail? What about the co-conspirators? No, we shouldn't be talking about any of that. Stock market. Record lows. Border crossing. Okay, there's still fucking 50 million immigrants in the country that need to be sent back.
To do to keep America safe and to make Americans safe.
Unreal.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. I agree with you totally. I think you've done a fine job. I think that Democrats, in fact, should be apologizing to the Epstein victims for doing nothing during the 4 years that they were running the government. We did not hear about this, and it took you and President Trump to finally provide transparency and give answers to the American people, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you also for standing up for truth today and for fighting back against the theatrics and the time waste that you will endure over the next hour or two. I want to apologize on behalf.
She's not gonna fuck you, bro. Calm down. Watch out.
Of my colleagues on the left, they're not all that bad, but they've got to put on a show, and I'm sorry that you have to go through that. And I would like to yield the last I'd say 40, and 40 is 80 seconds. The clock says 40, but I've got 80 seconds since I was so rudely interrupted, and I'll give all 80 seconds to Chairman Jordan.
And I would just yield to the Attorney General if she has anything to add.
Here comes some
I'm
glazing.
fine to continue. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, the chair now recognizes, the gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from California.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would note that Mr. Nadler's question
Get your
has not yet
in the
been
shop,
answered,
boys.
But I want to start by asking that out of respect for the American public and the Epstein survivors, some of whom, of course, are here today, that we can have a transparent conversation and get the public the answers they deserve. I want to briefly direct your attention to two documents I'm hoping we will put up on the screen. In the first, an individual emails Jeffrey Epstein asking whether a woman identified as M was pro or civilian, and Epstein responds that she was a civilian, Russian, and fun. In the second email, Epstein writes to Steve Tisch about a Ukrainian girl, noting that she was, quote, a little freaked out by the age difference and stating that he would try to convince her not to return to Ukraine. He then instructs Mr. Tisch to call him, adding, I don't like records of these conversations. So I'd like to ask a straightforward question that really is either a yes or no answer. Do these emails constitute credible?
Is she going to answer a yes or no? Who's got that? What's the percentages here? It's going to be 70-30?
Evidence, not proof, but credible evidence.
Oh, if you guys want me to turn the music off, let me know.
Evidence warning further investigation into whether Steve Tisch was involved in Epstein's criminal conduct. Do you think yes or no?
I'm not going to play a yes-no game with you, but I will answer the question to the best of my ability. As I said, we will look and investigate any case involving any victim. I'm not familiar, there were 3 million pages, of course, with that email, but of course, we will look into anything. The documents have been released,
At
3
the
million.
American noble sent $5. It's a politician thing, they should be jailed or fired. They purposely omit info, lie and gaslight. We want to see consequences. They gotta go, man.
I agree fully. But it's going to take, I think it's going to take massive protest in front of the White House to get their asses moving on this.
In the redacted versions, we left them open for all of you to come view. Have you? I believe you view them. If not, will you have some copies?
I'd like to.
But could I finish, please? I'm not being rude. Please.
I only have 5 minutes.
No, yeah, and I only have 30 seconds based on your filibuster.
But you didn't give a yes or no
California.
answer. So let me just go further. Director Patel testified in this committee room that there was no credible information indicating that
She is
Epstein
crashing out.
trafficked victims to anyone else. And glancing at the documents, that proves that's not the case. In July,
Tothic Hickens sent $5. Wait. I thought this was the first half of 6 million files.
your department issued a memo stating that it had conducted an exhaustive review of the Epstein files and concluded that no additional individuals would be charged. So I did go over to the Department of Justice yesterday. I would note that 400 and all our 35 members are in the House, and there's 4 computers. So it would take many months to actually have the time. I only had a few hours. I think the transparency argument is really kind of a sham because it's not really possible.
Whoa. Did you have to wait to get a computer?
It is not possible to really go in. I did, however, see a U.S. attorney information for the Southern District of New York indicating that there were additional survivors and probable co-conspirators. Other members of Congress have uncovered likely co-conspirators whose names were blocked out. Now,
I said that too in the video today that I put up about the Epstein files. We're never going to get the worst of the files, you guys. This is obviously the redacted shit and multiple redactions on top. So what Massey and Rocano was saying is that the files they saw that were removing the black redactions actually had already been redacted in white. There were white redactions under the black ones. So can you imagine, though, what are the files that are like the most heinous evidence that they could possibly have? That was the first that immediately they burned. They torched that shit right away, or got locked away somewhere, and it's being used right now to, subvert people. Yeah, they have, so video evidence. Now that's a great one, because I do remember Pam Bondi saying that the files were on her desk, remember? A while ago, and she had videos, and she said it was sick and twisted of underage girls, and oh, so you had these already, right? And so there's video proof of a bunch of shit happening. So who are the men? All right, thanks, Noble. So who are the men, guys, in the video, and why were there no prosecutions? You literally have a man on video committing a crime then. Oh, we just forgot about that one. That's strange.
The Epstein File Transparency Act, which all but one member of this House voted for and the president signed, requires the department to release everything except that it needs to be redacted to protect the victims or an ongoing prosecution, which apparently there is none from the testimony we have received. I am concerned that this act has not been fully complied with. When Director Patel came to the committee...
Look, her gains have been so good, she forgot to do her job. Like, she was blinded by the Dow being at 50,000 and the S&P. Record highs.
He admitted that up to 1,000 FBI agents had gone through the files and redacted President Trump's name from them. And it's pretty clear that what has been transmitted from the FBI continues to redact President Trump's name, even though he is mentioned, thousands of times in these files. So I think the credibility of the department in terms of complying with the act has been damaged. And I think the department's credibility has been damaged in other ways. I think we all saw the horrible video of American citizens being killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. And I think how the department has handled these cases raises a lot of doubt about the department.
At Tech084, sent $5. Factspo. History will never talk about those files because those pages are stuck together.
Yes, definitely. I agree. Phase 1. Right, dude, phase 1. They even called it phase 1, which obviously lends you to the thought process of saying, well, there must be multiples coming after this, right? This is part 1, phase 1. Never got a phase 2. After phase 1, we got directly from Trump saying it's a hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. These files, they don't exist. 6 fucking million later. Isn't that a funny number? 6 million files later. Looks like they do exist. And there's a lot of names on them. That's crazy.
State and local police in Minnesota got a court order to get access to the crime scene to be sure evidence would be properly preserved by federal agents. But they took the agents defied the court order, and in a departure from general policy, the DOJ is not collaborating with state and local law enforcement on these homicides. So I really think that is a disgraceful approach to the homicides of American citizens, and really does nothing to bring credit to your department. And Mr. Chairman, I would yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
May I answer?
Attorney General can respond.
I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. And if they could maintain their composure.
How can you, seriously? Okay. I don't understand how you can make the claim he's the greatest president in history. Fuck Jefferson. Fuck literally every one of the founding fathers. Nobody in the first 10 presidents alone. You're telling me that Trump is better than those guys? Who here would even say that Trump is better than Kennedy? And Kennedy didn't even get to finish out his presidency. Crazy. Trump is the best in history. Glaze, bro. Can you glaze harder? I don't think it's even possible to glaze harder.
Closure. This isn't a circus. This is a hearing. I find it interesting she keeps going after Donald Trump. She doesn't say how much money she took from Reid Hoffman, did you?
None.
And nor did
Mr.
she
Chairman,
post
regular
anything.
order, please.
She
Regular
posted
order.
nothing on her X account, on her Twitter account during the Biden years.
I'm over women being in positions in power. I'm so fucking done. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing for the victims and co-conspirators. We're talking Twitter, we're talking Instagram accounts, we're talking fucking Obama, we're talking about literally everything but the administration failing to prosecute these peds. Women, I'm fucking over it. Get them out of, get them out.
Sent $5. What happened to guilty by association? If my name was on the Epstein list, they'd lock my blackers up. I guarantee you that. Politicians keep escaping.
Yep. Because they have money, dude. It's always been about the money. You know, they divide us here at the bottom amongst ourselves, all stupid sorts of shit, right? But at the very top, it's always been what they got and what we don't. And that money buys them like a two-tier kind of society, essentially. Rules for thee, not for me. This is insane. Fucking hell. Dude, the suffragettes, fuck you. You guys screwed up this country. You fucked up. Stay in the kitchen, be barefoot pregnant, cook food, rub your man down, let men worry about the world. This is fucking dumb. We literally lost in like a span of 80 years our democracy, turned into a fucking oligarchy, a corporate hellhole, and completely subverted by outside groups straight just through money alone. Because money equals speech in America. All because we gave people the fucking right to vote that should have never been able to vote. It's not even just the women. Most men shouldn't even be able to vote. We have this conversation all the time. The average guy is like fucking mentally retarded too. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay? Have you talked to like the average guy? You gotta, it used to be landowner or you pay taxes or you're in the military. Something, bro. Show me why you belong in the class of people that get to vote. You're gonna put your body on the line and sacrifice? Let's give it to him. That dude's willing to die for the country. You pay tons of taxes. You pay into the system. He's a productive member. Let him vote. Everybody else, fuck off. You got to placate to the lowest common denominator. And this is how you get people like Pam Bondi in office. Because idiots are running the show. Because idiots are voting the idiots in. Because the idiots can't tell when a smooth-talking retard tells him he's going to make America great again and does none of that shit. We look like a fucking joke. History will be proven right again. This is crazy. You have a republic if you can keep it. We fucking lost the republic. It's over. You don't even have democracy. It is the democratization of corporations. They have real power. They're fighting themselves for the influence and they're getting their laws passed, which is what we're living under. That's the oligarchy. There is no democracy for me and you. We have no fucking pony in this race. It's all theirs. They own them all. They bought them. So their ponies behave how they want them to behave. Do you understand that? But Trump, smart enough, used the populist rhetoric and said, this is for the common man. This is a New York billionaire. He was never for the common man. He just had the common man's message. And he had the theme to go with it. Posting the little hello at McDonald's. See, I'm just one of you. I work fast food. You see, I'm a normal person. To be more relatable. Hook, line, and sinker for the retards. Ha, that's my president. Ha, he's serving up McChickens. Ha. Get fucked, bro. Get fucked. Literally. Your daughters are getting prostituted. Your sons are turning into drug addicts. You have no future. Your country's fucking overrun with immigrants. Your government doesn't even work anymore. It's not functional. And they still make you pay taxes while you just go watch your slop on the fucking screen like the NFL and the halftime showing. It's too fucking Latino for me. I couldn't understand it. You've been lost your country, you stupid fuck.
Lady.
Yet now, all of a sudden,
question
she's
asked.
going out.
Listen to this if you don't believe
There
it.
was no question
be in
asked of
order.
the Attorney General. She doesn't just get to
Committee will be in order.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Committee will be in order.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Lady can state her point of order.
When a witness attacks,
Not a valid point of order. You got to state.
She hasn't completed her point of order yet.
Gotta
Please let her
cite-
speak, Mr. Chairman. Let's have some regular order here.
Regular order is you got to state the rule. And she
I am
didn't do it.
trying to make a point of order that the witness,
And what rule are you referring to?
without responding to a question, has attacked me personally. I think it's pathetic that she can't answer the questions and
First
instead
time
is attacking
that is not even close
members
to a
of the
point of
committee.
order. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
In August of last year, I sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking for assistance in seeking compensation.
Atothic Hickens sent $5. I'm calling it, the deep state is trying to swing us left to keep cheap labor and etc. So they're having the right smear itself.
Oh, the right is lost. Once you understand that at the top, the right wants mass immigration also, but they just coded it in legal language like H-1B visas or 600,000 Chinese. Neither the right or the left is actually populist. They're both establishment shills. This is why Trump's campaign worked so well in 2016, because it seemed really anti-establishment. They both sold you out. Do you understand? Whether they come in illegally through the border or with infinite Indians in the H-1B visa, you're fucking sold out. You're getting replaced. You understand that? What have the Republicans been Republican about? What are the conservatives conserving for the last 20 years, bro? You see the fucking freaks walking around in public with cat ears and like fucking lace, and they look like absolute freaks. Have you seen the freaks allowed in our society? The mental institutions don't work anymore. Okay? Your kids, your children are cutting their dicks off, their breasts off. Yeah, conservatives really did put a stop to that, dude. Totally.
For the town of Lac du Flambeau. Town of Lac du Flambeau is in my district, and your office replied that it was an ongoing matter and unable to comment on it, which I understand. That's just fine. But I want to set this up just as a reminder. So 3 years ago, it was at this time of year that 4 roads were blockaded in the town.
Someone in the comments said, you said the right as a whole doesn't care about illegal immigration? That's whack. What are you, fucking retarded? Did you not notice that we basically granted amnesty to people that work on farms or in hospitality, in services at hotels? So we were supposed to mass deport everybody, but then the business class, which the Republicans suck off, came up and gave Trump a nice reach around and was like, hey bro, we need the strawberries picked. Hey bro, we need maids for our hotels. Hey bro, you're gonna have to get this lube and get it up the ass, because we're not gonna support you any longer if you don't protect our industry. And guess what he did? He licked, went and gave him the reached around. Let me help you put it in. Here's how we're gonna leave the fucking hospitality and the farmers. But everybody else gotta go. But wait, not everybody else, only the criminals. But wait, now we're gonna work with the Democrats to get the criminals out. So do you see how they go down the de-escalation ladder? You got promised up here, and they go down just like this every couple of months, right? It just goes low. And then you're going to end up in the same place we ended up decades ago, where amnesty is granted in another form of DACA. And then they're going to have like, you know, a fast-paced road to citizenship. So they're already here. Oh, they crossed the Rio Grande already. They've been in the system for 20 years. Fast-track citizenship. And then you have amnesty and another 10, 20 million people, a permanent underclass. Fucking shit. That's whack, bro. Conservatives, they really hate immigrants. We're cooked, bro. We're cooked. These are conservatives in my comment section. He's having a fucking meltdown fit in the background as I'm speaking. His fucking brain's exploding. He's not jabbed up. He's something else. It's the same kind of retard. It's just on the right. Or maybe he did get jabbed up. We don't even know.
Town of Lac du Flambeau, and the temperature was 25 below zero. People had to park their cars at a neighbor's place, take the snowmobile across the lake to get their car, and then be able to drive into town. There were people 80 and 90 years old that could not, were very concerned that they'd be able to get emergency medical services. And the perpetrators
Democrat,
of this, the tribe out there, they demanded compensation from.
Trump's been a Democrat the entire time. You guys forget that he only switched Republican because he knew he could win the primaries that way? The dude's been a Democrat for decades.
The town, I would call it extortion. They ultimately got $600,000 from the town of Lac du Flambeau. The unfortunate part, Mr. Chairman, is that the Biden administration took the side of the perpetrators who closed those roads off, and the Biden administration made it clear to the town of Lac du Flambeau that we are not on your side in regards to this. Well, fortunately, there was a federal judge that said, no, this is wrong, what happened, and these roads should be left open, they should continue to be left open. My question to you is, are you willing to work with my office and with the town of Lac du Flambeau to further investigate this matter and seek compensation from the tribal government after their extortion of $600,000 from this little town in
No one gives a fuck about the
around
tribals.
this country. And when our
there, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, the FBI, who have been in Memphis in other ways, having more people there is good for Memphis. Crime has gone down in Memphis, but it went down 25% before the task force got there under the direction of Mayor Young and Director Davis, Chief Davis. It's gone down about 15% more since then, and that's good. But I would like to comment that Mexico City's homicide rate has gone down 40% during the same time when Memphis has only gone down 25%.
Oh, shit. Hey, you're doing your job, but it's not as good as the Mexicans are doing it. So, like, what the fuck are you actually doing then?
And that's not necessarily because of the task force, although the mayor says he thinks it's helped. So I thank you for that. You would agree, I presume, that violent crime in communities across our country is critically important, and that's why the task force is there. Is that not true?
Yes, and if I can just add to that, I think the surge, the FBI, our FBI under the leadership of Director Patel came in and did a surge in Memphis.
Earlier.
Prior to the task force.
Yeah, Bible.
And thank you for saying that about Mayor Young. He's been great to work with, and thank you.
He's a good guy.
He's a very good guy.
One problem I've got with where we are in priorities here. A recent Department of Justice, National Institute of Justice report based on arrest records in Texas and in California found that undocumented immigrants were less than half as likely as U.S.-born Americans to be arrested for homicide. And this pattern holds for assault, sexual assault, robbery, burglary, theft, and
sent $5.
That's
I
crazy
knew
stuff.
PB was incompetent, but I didn't know she was this bad. All this is doing nothing but piss me off. Can she be recalled?
Trump's too much of a pussy to like get her to step down. He needs to fire her already.
arson. Half as likely to be arrested for drugs.
But that's why they're there. That's why incompetence, like Pam Bondi is there and Kash Patel, is because they are incompetent and controlled. They're bootlickers. Their job is to be ineffective and stonewall. Like once you understand that their job is to be essentially that, then they're technically doing a good job. Just not for you.
Drug offenses. So I ask you, and I've written to you about this, there are TV ads that run that say to local law enforcement, specifically, says, are you tired of having your hands handcuffed because you can't do the things you wanted to do when you joined, and if you want to do something different, join ICE and you'll get a $50,000 bonus and we'll pay off your debts, student debts, and we'll help you with pensions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're encouraging local law enforcement to leave local law enforcement and go to work for ICE. We need people working in the front lines.
All right, let's get to the more Epstein stuff.
If Mr. Brennan is going to be indicted.
What I can confirm is that we have received a referral from you, Chairman Jordan, to investigate John Brennan. His attorneys have made some public statements, but the department is attorneys and reviewers. Besides, I prosecuted capital cases. I prosecuted domestic violence cases. I prosecuted multiple.
Oh, she's crashing out again. Right?
I just simply asked.
Here we go.
Gentleman from New York.
Crashing out there, dude.
If we want to know whether Mr. Brennan will be indicted, you should just ask the president.
Not a point of order, but I appreciate
Damn.
you trying to make it one.
He's saying she doesn't do
the
shit.
gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Bondi, it's been reported that there were at one point 1,000 personnel assigned to the task of identifying and scrubbing Donald Trump's name from the Epstein files. Were those reports accurate?
I believe his name has appeared countless times in the documents
how
that
many
have
people were
been released.
assigned?
If I could finish, I'm going to read you the stats.
I just simply asked whether or not it was true that it was 1,000 folks who were assigned that task. Were those reports accurate?
There are more than 500 attorneys and reviewers. I cannot give you an exact number.
And I wanted to ask you about that also, because this is a different question that you're getting to now. There were 500 DOJ lawyers and others assigned the task of redacting the appropriate information, including identities of the Epstein victim survivors.
She's just pulling out the fucking stock charts again. She's ready to quote the markets.
From the Epstein files prior to their release. 500, is that correct?
If I could have finished my answer, there were more than 500 attorneys and reviewers who assisted with the. They asked a question and they don't want an answer.
That answers my question, ma'am, and I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on.
From multiple
Bondi, would you agree?
In order. Time belongs to the.
Well, clearly, Mr. Johnson does not know the Dow is at 50K, or else he wouldn't be asking these stupid-ass questions about Epstein.
The gentleman from Georgia.
General Bondi, would you agree that your 8 years of service as the state of Florida's Attorney General, the third largest state in the nation, served as an excellent preparation for your current role as Attorney General for the United States of America?
Not only that, I was a career prosecutor for 18 years.
And for
18 years.
And for 18 years,
he asked a question and doesn't want an answer. This is theatrics.
For 18 years, you prosecuted serious felony cases, including drug cases, correct?
Oh, I prosecuted homicides. I prosecuted capital cases. I prosecuted domestic violence cases. I prosecuted multiple cases, and that's why I feel for all of these victims. And did you ask Merrick Garland this?
And then what is he going to say? And you ain't done shit recently. You ain't done shit with the Epstein files. All this prosecuting and you ain't done shit. Shit.
Also, you also
sir?
prosecuted sexual assault cases and
get her ass.
Child sex trafficking cases, correct?
I answered that question earlier. I prosecuted multiple cases when I was a prosecutor.
Bottom line, you're an experienced and seasoned.
For 18 years.
Mr. Chairman, will you reminder of the rules? The time belongs to the member of the committee.
You are a seasoned and experienced prosecutor, correct?
I think we've established that.
Yes or no?
Does he want an answer or not?
I think he wants to say
I want a yes or no answer.
I think he wants to say
I want a yes or no answer, but I'll live with what you have already said. Let me ask you this question.
Clearly,
in the prosecution of sexual assault cases, you are acutely aware.
Bro, it's crazy. Like, she doesn't know how bad she looks, how out of control she is, how emotional she's coming off when she's just talking out of turn and talking back like that. That shit's crazy.
We're gathered today to have a hearing. PB, are you going to answer questions? PB, but stonks.
That's exactly what I'm saying. She's deflecting, she's talking back, talking out of turn when it's not her time. She's not even letting people get clear questions out. She's constantly trying to, run around and say, but this, like pulls out a piece of paper, but let me read this pre-written statement. What the fuck? What is this? Yeah, this is making the administration look horrible. Like, how did the administration go and decide that this was going to be the head of the DOJ?
aware of how important it is to protect the identity of victims of sexual assault,
Yes.
correct?
I have addressed this multiple times. I think others were cutting me off when I was trying
Well,
to.
I just simply asked, are you
Wow, she's
aware
petty.
of the fact that it's vitally important to
She's
protect
had
the
enough.
identity of sexual assault victims as you prosecute their the
being
people
a
they
woman.
accuse of assaulting them? Isn't that correct?
Excuse me. As we have said multiple times,
Protection of the
protection
identity
of all victims
of the victims
are
is
protected.
so very
Who are
important.
protected under? Do you want me to answer or do you want to interrupt?
Well, because you're not answering the question. You do a Jekyll and Hyde kind of routine around here, and I just want you to answer my questions.
What does Jekyll and Hyde mean? Can you explain
Well, it means
that?
you're nice to the
Explain
Republicans and you turn like Hyde on Democrats. But let me ask you this, ma'am. We
Got her
have
ass.
the Epstein victim survivors here today. Representative Jaya.
He's like, you crazy bipolar bitch. You need to be asking these motherfucking questions, yes or no. God,
asked a simple question. If you would be so kind and honorable as to turn around and face them and apologize to them for outing them. I mean, how many lives have been derailed because your department was either sloppy and incompetent or willfully trying to intimidate and punish these ladies for coming forward?
Wow.
Was it?
The time of the
Dude, you see that shit? So, the etiquette of this oversight hearing, 0. How the fuck is the person she's in the hot seat, okay? And then the person in the hot seat that's testifying goes, your time's up. Oh, shit. Holy shit. Wow, dude. 0 fucks given. Completely incompetent. Her husband, her ex-husband, is she currently married? Oh, man.
Gentleman has expired. The gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Wisconsin for 5 minutes.
Attorney General Bondi, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have spent the past several months attacking the administration for doing exactly what the American people wanted when they overwhelmingly elected President Trump, securing our border and enforcing our immigration laws. I find it a bit ironic because this is the same party who just a few years ago were openly supporting strong immigration enforcement after witnessing criminal illegal aliens wreak havoc on the American communities.
What the fuck is a
I have a short
havoc?
video I just wanted to play.
Of immigrants. We're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable.
They've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone.
No great nation can be in a position where they can't control their borders.
While we need to address the issue of immigration and the challenge we have of undocumented people in our country, we certainly don't want any more coming in.
Every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens.
I want you guys to, this is a great video, right? The Republicans of today are more left than those Democrats of the 90s. Bill Clinton is more right than the current administration. This is how far the Overton shift has taken us. And people are talking about like, this is the right versus left battle. Dude, it's a left versus lefter. Far left versus left. You have no right. The right hasn't arrived yet. I try to tell you guys, the right isn't here yet. You know what the right looks like? It's to the right of Fuentes. He's the moderate position. There is a massive underswelling of the actual right. It's not here yet because things haven't gotten bad enough yet. I am telling you, we are going to get the economic populism of the left socialism, merged with the patriotic nationalist right. Fireworks will happen. It just takes the right person with the right messaging to bring them two together. We're just in the stage of cooking right now. You know, the pot's starting to boil a little bit, getting the seasoning in there, all this, right? The ingredients, but we haven't made the fucking meal that's coming. Okay?
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong.
Open the borders, my God. You know, there's a lot of poverty in this world, and you're going to have people from all over the world, and I don't think that's something that we can do at this point. Can't do it.
Yes or no? Would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
So, Attorney General Bondi, what's the Trump administration, DOJ, doing to end the open border policies of the prior administration that saw dangerous drugs and criminal aliens flood our communities?
Congressman, President Trump has worked tirelessly, as you know, to close our border, which is what the Democrats had asked for in that video. President Trump closed our borders on day one. He is protecting Americans. He is protecting our kids from the influx of drugs that were flowing into this country from Mexico. The fentanyl precursors that were coming from China. These precursors were taken from China into Mexico. And in Mexico, they were mixed and freely taken right into.
Hey, hold on, though. We were told that it was fucking Venezuela that was the problem. That's why we grabbed Maduro. Hold on. It was the drug war that we were going to escalate because too many of these drugs were coming over the border. Now, all of a sudden, it's about Mexico. Wait a second. China sending the precursor to Mexico? And then Mexico is pushing that shit into our country. So shouldn't we have toppled the Mexico government? Wow. Was that a little oops? Were you supposed to say that out loud?
Our country, along with gang members, MS-13, TDA, freely coming into our cities around our country, thanks to Joe Biden's open border policies. That has stopped under Donald Trump. It will no longer happen under this administration, and he is doing everything to keep Americans safe. And let me continue. When he was elected overwhelmingly by the American people, the majority of the American people wanted Donald Trump.
Yeah, and look at the current polling. You don't have a mandate anymore. You're protecting peds. You won't release the files. Everything you ran on, you turned your back on. You are Israel first. The nation doesn't come before anything for you except money and influence. You're about to meet Netanyahu. Isn't there a meeting going on today, if I'm not mistaken, or tomorrow? He just arrived in fucking DC to tell him what? To talk about bombing Iran? Wow, America first. No new wars. We're talking about another battle cruiser, another carrier strike group,
King sent $5.
moving into the Middle East.
Yeah, Trump closed the door, but he also opened a window on immigration. Only tards wouldn't notice this.
Yeah. Dude, he's talking about sending a second strike group near Iran. For what? For what, bro? I thought it was Mexico sending fentanyl inside America, killing hundreds of thousands of us every year. Isn't that the actual problem?
The main reasons was border security and keeping Americans safe. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why today the other side sits here, they yell, they cut me off, they want to yell, they want to ask a question and don't want answers because they want to distract from all the great things that this president and this administration working hand in hand, and that includes Secretary Noem, who has closed our borders, and Tom Homan, who has closed our borders to keep Americans safe. And they're trying to distract from that, and they're not going to do it because the American people are smarter than that, and they see through their theatrics.
Thank you. Just quickly, yesterday, Senator Grassley reached out to my office to tell me that I was one of the 20 members that was now disclosed were under surveillance from Jack Smith. This brings up the question of non-disclosed orders and whether or not they should apply to members of Congress. But with my phone records being surveilled, as well as looks like 19 other members of Congress, I'm just wondering how DOJ views that.
Time is, the gentleman's expired, but the gentlelady can respond.
As I stated earlier, Congressman, anyone's records who were illegally obtained, Democrat or Republican, we will fight vigorously to stop that. Anything with Arctic frost, I can't discuss right now.
And isn't it true, Madam Attorney General, the DOJ has changed their policy? You can't do that now. The DOJ is not going to go do that and ask the judge for an NDO.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good. That in and of itself tells you why how wrong it was. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from California.
Great, thank you. Madam Attorney General, you acknowledged earlier to Mr. Johnson that President Trump was mentioned and the release countless times, you said, in the Epstein files. I just want to play a video, though, for you that I think speaks to the frustration that many of these victims have. Of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name we have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it at
least be 1,000 times? We have released every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can characterize the numbers however you want it.
Claiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
it's not.
Me,
it's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number.
At Heliamaker sent $20. Even though I'm 33, I think since the 1960s we've been screwed. Abortion 70 years / 80 million babies deleted, created the push of DACA, H-1B, visa / green card and continued adolescence with zero accountability for 3 decades.
Nailed it. Nailed it. 1965 Immigration Act. Nailed it. Shit started to change rapidly. Then took us off the gold standard. And even before that, the Federal Reserve. Yes. And then the final nail in the coffin, to all of this, Citizens United. And that was the end of America.
I understand why the victims are frustrated. And the Attorney General acknowledged what Mr. Patel would not acknowledge, that it was way more than 1,000 times. But I want to move, Madam Attorney General, to weaponization of government. And yesterday it was reported that 6 members of Congress had indictments sought against him and they were not returned by a grand jury. My colleagues have spoken about their frustration of being in subpoenas and having cell phone records combed through. Well, in 2017 and 2018, Adam Schiff and I had our cell phone records and email records combed through, not by you, but a different Department of Justice under the president. It was in retaliation for our role in the Russia interference campaign. An Inspector General report would find this improper and that the predicate for it was absurd. In 2020, after sitting on 2 committees that were a part of the president's first impeachment, an FBI agent leaked my cooperation in a national security case where my campaign was targeted. The president's FBI senior leadership authorized 2 statements to the press that said I was never suspected of wrongdoing and only helped the investigation. But that didn't stop the death threats or my GOP colleagues from referring me to an ethics investigation where Kevin McCarthy's chairman on the ethics committee would find the same thing as the FBI. Our current FBI director would then write a book called Government Gangsters and identify a long list of enemies. About a quarter of them have been either investigated or indicted. He listed me at the very top along with Adam Schiff, and during that same testimony refused to recuse himself when asked if he would recuse if any case came across his desk involving me or people on that list. Since that testimony, his department has put me under investigation with Senator Schiff for the nonsense mortgage fraud cases that we've seen. I get it. This is what the president does. I've priced it in. We have a bingo card at home that my kids have made of what will come next. I expected that the president would come after his enemies, but what I want to talk to you next is serious, and I did not expect this would happen, and I'd like your help on it. The president has inspired death threats against me and many sitting up here with me. In June 2025, an individual left 11 voicemails at my district office. On the voicemails, they said, "Get the message to him. I'm gonna hunt him down, that motherfucker, and toss his ass over the Golden Gate Bridge by my fucking self."
Whoa.
Donald Trump's Department of Justice in the Northern District of California declined to prosecute. On May 14, 2025, on Twitter, responding to something I posted, an individual said, "No, it wasn't Eric, and now I'm going to kill you." The Department of Justice from the Southern District of Texas declined to prosecute. May through December of 2025, we received messages at my office that said, "I hope somebody shoots you and your children and your wife in the head. Pew, pew, motherfucker, pew, pew." I would stay indoors as much as possible, and my children, unfortunately, have to do that.
Okay, and I've gotten death threats too. Okay, so when regular people get death threats, what are we supposed to do?
The Department of Justice has not charged this individual and cited that he's a prolific caller and has health conditions, although what we have found in our own investigation and his voicemails is that he has said he will employ others to do this. The president can come after me. It's fine. I'm in the arena. So are these folks. But we never expected that the Department of...
Yeah, Trump, they attempted to kill him. He got shot once. And then another one at his golf course tried. And then probably they stopped countless others. How many loonies are actually coming after this fuckface actually attempted on him in comparison? Because the left is extremely violent.
Beneficent 2,557 sent $5. Just FYI, some of these threats are astroturfed for optics.
I agree. Yeah, a lot of the Democrats are just crying wolf talking about the threats from the right. Who are the ones that are actually fucking out there killing and shooting people? It just happened in Canada. There was another shooting by some tranny. They won't name the dude being a tranny, trans woman, who fucking shot, I don't know, injured 29, killed 5 children. Another one of left's, the secret marginalized group you cannot name.
Justice would not seek to prosecute and investigate those who are making threats against us. And that would include those on that side of the aisle. And I'm just asking for your help to protect life, because life is at risk with the environment we're in right now.
A gun person, yeah.
Congressman, I completely agree with you. I know about several of those personally involving you. I believe one has been charged publicly, and there's something I would be happy to talk to you about off camera, but I can assure you that they are very serious. They are being looked into, and I can give you more details on those. None of you should be threatened, ever. None of your children should be threatened. None of your families should be threatened. And I will work with, you can come into my office any day. I will work with all of you on both sides of the aisle if you are ever threatened. And
oh, that's great. So what about everyone? I've had emails, I've had messages, DMs talking about killing me, raping my family, shit like this, all because of an opinion. And it's all from leftists. I wonder how many on the left are getting the same kind of violent threats. Talking about killing you, murdering your family, raping your kids, shit like that. That's crazy. Where's the recourse? Just wondering. Who do I contact? Whose names do I send?
And I'll gladly talk to you after this hearing about your cases, but I can tell you some of them are very active.
Appreciate that. Now yield back.
Gentleman yields back, and we're sorry for what the gentleman and his family have had to go through. We appreciate what the Attorney General said, and I think some of the things that the gentleman from California related, we can all relate to, and it's unfortunate, it's wrong, as the Attorney General said, and we appreciate the help we get from the Justice Department. With that, we will now recognize the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Van Drew.
Thank you, Chairman.
I don't know where to begin. Thank you for being here, General. You might see me when I'm right in front of you. I have to mention this first. You know, I used this word before, and my friends on the other side of the aisle got mad at me, but hypocrisy. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. But for years on the other side of the aisle, we heard nothing. Crickets, not a word. Nothing was said when they were in control. Nothing was mentioned basically the last summer, and the ranking.
And you know what I just remembered with the Democrats crying wolf with these threats? When Bobby Kennedy was running against them and trying to go into the primaries, they cut his security detail. Do you guys remember that? They pulled his or denied him Secret Service when he was getting death threats. The Democrats eat their own. The Democrats foment this kind of messaging by calling people on the right, and they're not even on the right, they're left, just 90s left. That they're calling their own left, essentially, Nazis and the Gestapo and all these inflammatory labels. Why? Because that galvanizes people into action. You guys remember that, yes? I didn't forget that. They pulled his security. They denied him Secret Service, which he needed to protect his family. And that was one of their own. What the fuck do you think they'll do when you're outside of the club?
Member points out that he did do something last year. Yeah, he did a letter complaining about the plea deal for Maxwell, but it wasn't a big deal. Then we get a new administration, and all of a sudden it's a big deal, and they feign concern, they're upset, they're investigating. They had all these years and all this time. And in fact, Stacey Plaskett, and we all know that name, when they had a congressional hearing, Democratic member, were taking texts from Epstein on questions to ask to go after Trump. So Epstein was using her Democratic colleague as a tool to go after President Trump. Just everybody keep that in mind. And then we talk about ICE and how horrible it is. And there are concerns. Everybody wants everything to go right. Nobody ever wants to see somebody die. And they complain about it. But at the same time, hypocrisy, they encourage constituents to go after the ICE agents, to challenge them, to hurt them, to attack them. And that doesn't make sense. That's hypocrisy. And then we hear about the concern of, going after Democrats, that the legal system, that judiciary and Department of Justice is going after Democrats. But they literally rework the legal system under Alvin Bragg and Letitia James to go after Republicans and those sympathetic to Republicans. So, be careful when you accuse others that you're not guilty yourself. Be careful of what you say, because you got a history, and it's easy to go over it. I just want to talk about where we were and where we are now. We had over 10 million illegal crossings in the past between 2020 and 24. Over 10 million. There's probably a much bigger number. I'm being conservative. We were told the people weren't dangerous, but they were, General. They were dangerous, many of them. More than 300 individuals on the terror watch list during that time. Violent criminals came across, as we saw consequences where mothers and fathers, children were raped, murdered, hurt, abused, beaten, trafficked, all from the drugs. My God, the drugs they brought into our babies in this country. 73,000 illegals with criminal histories, 20,000 with convictions of assault, robbery, and sex offenses, 13,000 convicted murderers in our beautiful defenders. It was madness. It was insanity. It's bizarre. It was madness. It was insanity. It's bizarre. It's perverse.
What the fuck is going on in the street?
Need for crowd control. By the way, they're not peaceful. Those are not peaceful protesters. We know what a peaceful protester is. When you spit on law enforcement, when you push them, when you hit them, when you beat their car. If you can answer the question, thank you.
Time's expired.
I'll yield back.
You may answer the question.
Thank you. Yes, I spent 4 days myself in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. What I will say about some of these sanctuary cities, some of these democratic cities, law enforcement, they quietly want to work with us. I've spoken to law enforcement in multiple cities who want to work with us. And yes, we're going to do everything we can to keep our citizens safe, whether or not these Democrat-controlled sanctuary cities do
empty
or don't.
platitudes.
Damn
What's
it, that's
the plan?
what really matters. I yield back.
Mr. Chair, I have a UC. Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating
Shit. Oh, here we go.
implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people
Thank you.
approve of
You don't
Trump's
need to
handling
read
of
the article to
immigration
us.
and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a net
admitted.
drop
Now I
to
recognize the gentleman
-20.
from California, Mr. Liu.
Oh, thank God, or I'll just skip over her. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew.
Sunset chirp.
Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face.
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions
Oh, my
when he
God.
was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
you twice.
I'm reclaiming my
Did
time.
you? Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During
Were
the
you not
Biden,
here
during the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I answer
question.
your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the...
Pimmy sent $7 Australian and 99 cents. How did she get her position? Thoughtful face emoji.
How did she get her position? I think you know how. Actually, she was implicated in the initial trial with Epstein, correct, in Florida? And he walked free, essentially, because of her. If I'm not mistaken. Chat, you let me know about that.
Man who patronized this operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He
Head.
doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his state.
She can't just ad-lib stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think.
Dude, she hasn't answered a single fucking question. Every time she gets a question, she has to look through her papers. Nothing off the top of her head. Absolutely not. She even has to cite the fucking Dows at 50,000 by looking at the papers. And when she speaks, it's like she's speaking like she's looking for words, you know? She's and President Trump is the best president in American history because crime is down 15% in Milwaukee, and then we closed the border. What the fuck are we doing?
I think our next witness will be more than happy to let the Attorney General
Madam
respond.
Attorney General, would you like to?
Gentleman from Alabama is recognized for 5 minutes.
You have a few minutes to respond.
Thank you, Congressman. This is what Congressman Liu didn't want to talk about. He didn't want to talk about all the...
He didn't want to talk about... fuck, I lost my place on the page. Where was it? Where were the stats? What the fuck?
crime that is happening in his state. California.
The crime that is happening in his state. Where was the line again? Fuck, I lost it. This is the Attorney General of the United States.
He refuses to honor detainees because of its dangerous sanctuary city policies. The refusal means California has released 4,561 criminal illegal aliens onto its street. The crimes of these aliens include 31 homicides, 661 assaults, 574 burglaries, 184 robberies, 1,489 dangerous drug offenses, 379 weapons offenses, and 234 sexual predator offenses. That's why they are deflecting. That's why they're trying to talk about the Epstein files. That's currently happening in his home state.
Attorney General, thank you for being here, and I wanted to make sure you had time to respond. I'm going to change gears a little bit. In October, when you were testifying before the Senate, I know you and my friend Senator Katie Britt discussed concerns of infiltration of the illegal Chinese vapes into our country. As a father of three, obviously, I'm worried a little bit about this, and I believe that many parents in the country share our similar...
Fucking Chinese vapes, bro. Get fucked. Jeez.
Jurisdictions. Now, I know that you are not involved directly in immigration operations per se, but you do deal with the legal issues surrounding these jurisdictions. So let's say we have someone who's here illegally, who has committed a crime that, like the thousands of people you mentioned in California, murderers, sexual predators, drug traffickers.
That guy really came up with vapes.
Beneficent 2,557 sent $5. Tax-protected pedophilia is unconscionable. Failing to indict makes the DOJ complicit.
Yeah. I agree. And they are complicit. Obviously, from just the 6 million files we got released, they're complicit. And she can't answer a single fucking question. And then you got Mr. Vapes, bro, coming in there. No toxic jerky, right? Vapes? I want to talk about the Chinese vapes today. Chinese vapes, bro. Chinese vapes. Your wallet is raped. Your country is being taken over. Immigrant carve-outs are being created before your very eyes. You won't be able to vote anybody in, like in Minneapolis. You can't vote anybody in unless you're placating to the Somali community. So many has come over. I want to talk about the vapes from China. The vapes. We know the Dow Jones is at record 50,000. But there's this thing called vapes from China. And I got 3 sons and they're fucking gooners in their room vaping up this Chinese juice. That's my problem with this country. Okay. Real issues.
If that individual is in detention in a jurisdiction that has a sanctuary policy where they do not honor ICE detainers versus in any other jurisdiction where they do, how does the nature of apprehending that person, how does the nature of ICE's involvement in that operation differ in those two circumstances?
Well, I believe you've seen that in Minnesota, where people were not cooperating with us. I believe there a lot of local law enforcement did want to cooperate, but we are doing everything in our power to arrest and deport illegal criminal aliens, and that is not going to stop under Donald Trump's administration.
Why are the numbers so low? Why are the numbers so illegal criminal aliens? Illegal criminal? You're already fucking a criminal if you're illegal. What is going on here? Illegal criminal. So what they're making for you to understand is a distinction that is placating the Democrats. Because you're here illegally, you're already a criminal, but they're adding a second criminal because they want you to understand that there's a difference between people who crossed illegally and then people who crossed illegally and also committed extra crimes like fucking murder, rape, drug dealing, whatever else. That's what they want you. So we are only going to deport some criminals, only the bad criminals. You know, the ones that are criminals that just crossed illegally, disrespecting the country's laws, they get to stay. But let me tell you about this Chinese juice my sons are on. Okay, because they're being gay as fuck in their room, smoking up Chinese vapes. Let me tell you about that. Fuck.
Pimmy sent $7.99. Literally digging herself a bigger hole. 100% deflection, 0% accountability. Others
like
backing her need to be jailed as well.
Yeah. So illegal criminals, guys. Do you see even the Republicans are woke with language? Illegal criminal aliens. How about all illegals? Stop calling them illegal illegals. Period. You're here illegally. Goodbye. No, you can't say that though.
You know, why
We need those farm workers and hospitality workers.
sanctuary cities are so dangerous. What we've seen in Minneapolis, where do all the criminals go? The gangs, TDA, MS-13, where are they going to go? They're going to go to a sanctuary jurisdiction because they believe they're protected, and that's not fair to the citizens of those cities.
Yeah, and this is a point that there at least used to be a lot of consensus on. The idea that, you know, it's better to do a handoff to the immigration authorities in a custodial setting rather than releasing them where they have to be apprehended in the community. This is Alejandro Mayorkas when he was before this committee, not exactly a paragon of border security, but he said, "I do not consider it in the service of public safety to release an individual into the community when that individual can be released to Immigration and Customs Enforcement for prompt removal." Now, his words are one thing, his actions are another. But when you have jurisdictions across the country, including my state of California, doing systematically precisely the thing that even Alejandro Mayorkas said threatens public safety, I mean, what does that say to you?
It's a danger to the citizens of your community, and thank you for fighting to protect them.
Absolutely. And you know, we're having this conversation right now in relation to Homeland Security funding. And I believe there are some common sense reforms that have been proposed that folks on both sides would agree make sense. But those reforms have to go hand in hand with reforming this reckless practice of refusing to cooperate, refusing to honor detainers, and declaring oneself to be a sanctuary. So I'm hoping that we can find bipartisan support for what has long been a bipartisan principle. I want to go to a second topic, which is the school board memo, which I know that you have rescinded, and it was initially promulgated by Attorney General
Thanks, brother. Get on
Garland.
Kick, guys. Get on Kick if you haven't. I'm going to link it in the chat. Much better streaming experience there.
When he came into office with President Biden, essentially opening an investigation into parents who were showing up at school board meetings and expressing their views on COVID policies, masks, various other issues, and using the full apparatus of federal law enforcement and counterterrorism to go after these parents. Now, he said this was because there was an increase of threats, but when even his own FBI director, Christopher Wray, was before this committee, he said there was no evidence of an increase in threats. Yet nevertheless,
At Fresh Media 15 cent $4.99. Vapes are the biggest threat to American hegemony. We must stop their production.
Watch out, bro. It's the vapes that are killing us all. The vapes are taking away our voting power. The vapes. It's the vapes. You're smoking so much juice that you can't afford a house. You're spending money on that Chinese shit. Stop it. Girls, they don't like vapes. What's going on, Maxwell? Shout out to you guys on Kick, dude. Get your asses on Kick already. Let's fucking go. And for those that are supporting the channel, I really do appreciate you guys donating and super chatting and all that. If you do that on Kick, I think the split is like 95% instead of whatever YouTube rapes and takes like 40% of whatever you're giving. So if you do want to support, Kick is much better. Go subscribe over there, send Kick super chats.
Plus, when I asked him if he regretted the memo, Attorney General Garland said there was absolutely nothing wrong with the memo. Now, I take it you disagree with that, having now rescinded it?
Absolutely. That was one of the main focuses of President Trump and this administration. We will protect parents at school boards. We will protect children in schools. We will protect parents' rights for their children's education in our school system in this country. We will protect Christians. We will protect everyone who wants to freely protest. If Christians want to protest in front of an abortion clinic without being arrested, they will do so.
Thank you very much. And finally, I thank you for your efforts to step up the detection and rooting out of fraud. My home state
of California was right up there. I'm sorry to say for both sides of the aisle that California is right up there with fraud. It's out of control, but we are coming to your rescue. Donald Trump is coming to the rescue.
Well, thank you very much. And unfortunately, I think you'll find that what's happening in California pales in comparison to what's been going on in Minnesota. Thank you. I yield back.
No, the fuck it hasn't. No, it hasn't. I can't remember what I read. Is it with housing or something else? California is one of the largest fraudulent... The amount of fraud that's going on in California is going to make everything else look like peanuts. Somebody was telling me if it was housing or something else. I don't know. Somebody from California must know in the chat. Oh, yeah. Guys, I think when you add up every single state and the H-1B visa fraud going on in Texas, for example, and everything else, the loans the Indian community were taking there and shit like that, I think the fraud is on the order of like $1 trillion or more over the past 10 years. Easily across all 50 states. You understand that there's $1 trillion in fraud. Yeah.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Actually, I think the gentlelady from Pennsylvania.
Gentlelady from Pennsylvania is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, I'm here. On September 25th, President Trump signed a memorandum known as NSPM 7, purporting to address domestic terrorism. But Americans across the political spectrum were immediately alarmed by the memo's blurring of the line between unlawful conduct and constitutionally protected speech and activity, as well as its call to investigate, prosecute, and dismantle groups that the president and Stephen Miller described without evidence as, quote, an organized campaign of radical left terrorism. Now, counterterrorism experts were further alarmed by the administration's singular focus on left-wing extremism, combined with the sudden deletion from the DOJ website of decades of research and law enforcement analysis, which had concluded that right-wing extremism poses the greatest terrorism threat to Americans. The president's memo broadly and vaguely links violent conduct to ideologies, and it targeted specifically anti-American, anti-Christian, and anti-capitalist beliefs, as well as, quote, hostility to so-called traditional American views on family, religion, and morality, end quote. President Trump has repeatedly and openly, however falsely, tried to brand his political opponents with these sentiments listed in his memo. But as you know, as a lawyer, holding beliefs that the White House disagrees with is not a crime. And the statute defining domestic terrorism requires criminal acts, not just thoughts and ideas. That's why legal experts, nonprofit leaders, religious freedom and civil rights advocates immediately raised the alarm that the new presidential directive was a politically motivated attack on civil society designed to silence those.
I wonder who did put me on that list. The male supremacy score bullshit. Like who really paid for and funded that NGO bullshit? That's crazy that they would even do that. We were headed towards something insane.
Who disagree with the administration. So, Ms. Bondi.
Someone said, what was that? 100 billion for low-income housing, 45 billion in Medicare fraud, 30 billion in emergency room fraud. Yeah, CA fraud and corruption is on another level. I think that's what I was reading, the low-income housing fraud.
Bondi. Section 3 of that memo directed you, as Attorney General, to submit to the President and Stephen Miller a list of groups or entities whose members are engaged in acts that meet the definition of domestic terrorism. And then on December 4th, you directed the FBI to work with a variety of law enforcement entities to compile a list of groups and entities engaged in such acts by January 3rd, 2026, and to update that report every 30 days thereafter. So can we assume that you or persons under your direction at the Department of Justice have prepared that list of groups or entities who are designated as domestic terrorist organizations? And I just remind you, that's a yes or no question. Did you prepare the list?
I'm not going to answer it yes or no, but what I will say is I know Antifa is part of that. I will talk to you about that.
I'm reclaiming my time. I asked you whether you
an Antifa member was
list.
Arrested in Minneapolis federal court for
my
cyber
time.
stalking.
Did you
they
have
ask a question and don't want an answer?
You know, somebody on Polymarket, if they were to put a sick-ass bet that will Bondi be able to answer a yes or no, I wonder what the fucking payout on that would be.
Sir, the answer is yes or no.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Pennsylvania. Gentlelady can proceed.
Okay. So will you commit to providing this committee with any list of organizations that you have recommended be designated as domestic terrorist organizations?
Yes or no?
We will comply with the law in all matters.
Will you commit to provide this committee with your list of entities that you recommend be designated as domestic terrorist organizations?
I'm not going to commit to anything to you because you won't let me answer questions.
Okay. Well, then we do understand that your current position is that you have a secret list of people or groups that you are accusing of domestic terrorism, but you won't share it with Congress. And I'd remind you that when the U.S. government designates an
I'm not committing to shit to you, bitch. The passive aggressiveness. Man, holy shit. Someone hand her one of them Chinese juice vapes because she needs to calm down. Her cortisol is spiking. Oh my God. Jeez.
An entity as a foreign terrorist organization, it must report that to Congress and to the entity, because the government can make a mistake and the entity has the opportunity.
That's a good point. If she still has a job after this shit, oh my Lord. That's going to be crazy.
Opportunity to contest it. So your position seems to be that if you falsely designate an American or an American organization as a terrorist group, there's nothing they can do about it. I think we get it. You don't want to answer the question.
No, you don't get anything regarding public safety.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Holy shit, bro, the contempt. Oh my God. I've never seen a hearing where the person that's getting grilled has this much contempt. Have you guys? I have never seen this. This is crazy. This is a mockery of our entire system. No, you don't get it, bitch. Holy fuck. Wow. Wow. Okay, it's leaving me speechless, bro. The jabs, the verbal jabs, they keep coming. Every comment is a verbal jab.
Thank you for the insult. It's clear you didn't come to Congress prepared to answer questions that the American people have every right to have answered. But if you were to prepared to answer truthfully, here's what we expect the facts to show. The administration is keeping lists of Americans who the White House says are engaged in domestic terrorism. Those lists could include Americans who have not committed any acts of terrorism, but simply disagree with this administration, people like Renee Good and Alex
Cortisol
Preddy.
maxing.
And your list may include clergy, elected officials, and members of indivisible groups across the country. And those lists likely don't include Proud Boys or Oath Keepers who were actually convicted. Americans have never tolerated political demagogues who use the government to punish people on an enemies list. It brought down McCarthy, it brought down Nixon, and it will bring down this administration as well.
And you were right.
I yield back.
That's why we're so glad they rescinded the memorandum targeting parents. For goodness sake, as the gentleman from California just pointed out in his 5 minutes, the gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 5
May I
minutes.
respond very briefly to her statement?
Well, I think we can do that probably on one of our members' time.
Okay, thank you. I don't want that to get away. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victims' lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm gonna unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this.
Oh,
now your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see.
That's the damning part right there.
Because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track?
That's the most damning part right there. So there's things that the member of Congress will never be able to see. So that is obfuscation. Obfuscation. Jesus Christ, we're caught. So if you're intentionally hiding things and redacting beyond the black redactions, so this is to the point where members of Congress can't see what's under. So think about that. Think about that for a second. Who is underneath the white redactions? That's the real question you need to ask here. Now, if they've managed to find, extra 5 co-conspirators, then what are they actually hiding under that? Like, look at the size of this shit, dude. They really released a file with one giant black fucking box. Not a sentence redacted, not a few paragraphs. The entire paper is redacted. Patel, yes, Patel is also affected by this. Big time, actually. Obfuscating, thank you. Yes. I need to eat. I almost said DJT's under that one. Who knows? We won't know. If members of Congress will never know, we're never going to know. If they're not privy to this information, then what's under these reports has to be so fucking damning. They've already quoted saying that these would bring the government to their knees. Bring the government to their knees? If this brings the government to their knees, then shouldn't we have massive investigations? No, we're going to keep talking about Merrick Garland. We're going to keep talking about Obama. We're going to keep talking about everybody else that has passed. That's crazy.
Who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr.
Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from Kentucky.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that? It's a political joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
Bro, let me finish. Bro, please, the Dow. I'm sick of Lex Wexner. I don't care, bro. Lex Wexner, whatever. Lex Schmex. Did you not hear? Did you not hear the Dow is at 50? This is a political joke. My money, my pockets are fat. What are you asking me all these political questions for? Donald Trump is the greatest president we've ever had. Fuck Franklin, Benjamin. He's a nobody. Jefferson, don't care about him. Okay? 50K Dow, did they do that? No. DJT did. All right, we got pressing issues. Chinese juice is coming across our borders. That man's kids over there, his 3 gay sons, smoking Chinese juice. They're turning the frogs gay. That's a bigger problem.
Question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
And we invited you in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
you need to get on to watch the video.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
Oh my!
Reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get a reclaimed time
this is bigger than Watergate.
When I don't answer a question the way you
This goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to know
transparent-
at what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wexner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman.
Yeah, the Republicans are so fucked because they're doing, that's exactly correct. What about Biden, though? They're doing what they fucking did when Trump. What about Trump? Everything. The Democrats had nothing to stand on.
Thomas Massey is a national treasure. Protect that man at all costs.
I agree. The Republicans' retort for absolutely every piece of questioning is, but what about the Democrats? But what about Biden, though? They have nothing to stand on. Dude, that's a losing move. It's over. The midterms are going to be a fucking catastrophic failure.
has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
She didn't answer the question.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering.
The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General's allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right. This is an example. I'm submitting these 302 forms that are entirely redacted, even when you go to look at them.
Without objection.
I'm submitting a witness statement that implicates Les Wexner.
Without objection.
I'm submitting an article from the New York Times that the DOJ released nude photos and identifiable pictures of the victims. I'm submitting a letter from AG Bondi to Kash Patel, imploring him to quit keeping the files when you found out that they were keeping files from you, because they're still redacting files that you...
Chairman, are we going to recess for votes?
Yes, we are.
I'm submitting for unanimous consent a document of 17 individuals who've resigned because of the Epstein files.
Without objection.
Dude, if you're America's enemies and you're watching this, you know the end is nigh. This is not governance. This is not accountability. This is absolute rot. Foundationally, the entire institutions need to be torn down and rebuilt. This is not good. What faith in the system can you possibly have come midterms? The only thing galvanizing the left to go out to the voter polls is the fact that their guy's not in and they're being riled up by mainstream media to think, you know, the ICE is the Gestapo. Like, absolute bullshit. Corruption maxing. Yeah, that's what our government's doing right now. Corruption maxing. Yeah. There's like no reason for a Republican to go to the polls in 2028, honestly. If you're a normie Republican and you're trying to go to the poll, when you see things like this, like a normie watching this is shaking their head. This is something even a normie can't stomach. She's not owning the Dems. She's not doing anything. There's no gotcha for her where she's winning. Do you think there's going to be any clips that are going to get played right now that is going to be like a gotcha moment, like Pam Bondi owned the Dems? Nothing. Corruption, fraud maxing and corruption maxing.
How much time we have left in votes, but one thing I've learned here of late that they'll wait on us.
At Rusty Shackleford sent $5. Ban Chinese vapes because Ma children a massive conspiracy to grape and trafficking crickets.
That dude really busted out the Chinese vape questions, bro. What the fuck?
How much time do we have?
Holy shit.
Oh, they just called him. Okay. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Maryland.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by saying I appreciate what you said, Attorney General Bondi, and you said it to me personally, that you take the personal security of every member of Congress seriously and that people can contact you about that. And in these times, that's a very serious matter. So I thank you for that. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 7 of the Constitution is the Domestic Emoluments Clause. And it says that the president is limited to his salary in office and cannot receive any other money from the federal government while he's in office. It cannot be increased.
Yeah, and he made billions off crypto. He pumped and dumped his entire fucking followers. His whole base bought in a Trump coin, Liberty coin, Cuck coin, fell for it again coin, and he's made billions. Most of his assets, his money is all tied into fucking crypto. He's good. He's good. He's a legit billionaire off pumping and dumping, and he's still got another tranche to unlock so he can dump more shit on the market. And his sons were making billions of dollars, probably hundreds of millions, who knows, tens of millions for sure. Insider trading, all it took was one Trump quote to get him on Twitter or something, saying like, this is the crypto fund, you know, the National Security Fund for crypto, whatever they fucking call it, the Strategic Crypto Fund. The retards were all fucking piling in on shit coins. Yes, dude. Yes, your president is a fucking con man. Yeah, duh. Duh, we knew that already. It was supposed to be different this time. A politician was going to come and save us. Fuck.
Whether it was related to fraud specifically or another subject, that under the Biden administration, there was a sitting member of the Virginia General Assembly under investigation. Is that investigation still ongoing? Can you speak to that?
I can't discuss that.
Okay.
What's after recess?
Was retroactive liability on energy producers for past global emissions based on speculative future climate change harm.
Uh-huh. More non-questions.
Carried. And she watched seconds later as two of those agents shot her son Alex at least 10 times. Administration was quick to spew
all
day long, as she doesn't want to talk about her own jurisdiction in Atlanta, because she doesn't want to talk about Christopher Welcher, who traveled across state lines to try to meet, and nothing's funny about this, to meet and molest a 14-year-old girl in Georgia. That's why they're watching the clock, the American people should know, for the second it runs out, because they don't want to address anything in their jurisdiction. They're elected to represent people in their jurisdiction. We prosecuted illegal aliens who ran a large scale.
Bro, her answers are shit. All right, we're going to skip through this last portion here.
You are. People ever to apologize to Alex Preddy's family after spreading.
No one gives a fuck about Preddy, dude. That dude is a maniac.
Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple
who
of
died
other
on a subway.
Right, and I absolutely...
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're going to move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So of course we're moving back to you. It is all about you. So,
got her ass.
As we've heard, she took the fifth in response to every single question in that committee hearing. And her lawyer dangled the offer of clemency. Should Donald Trump pardon or commute her sentence? Should she be released from prison, yes or no? You said you hope she dies there, so I'm hoping the answer is no.
I already answered that question.
Good. I'm very glad. I really like this bipartisan agreement about
when
what
it
should
agrees
happen
with you. But you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska. You don't want to talk about
I talk about
murdered
her all
by
the
a
time,
violent crime
but I am not
in
here
your
to
jurisdiction.
testify before Congress. You are. That is your job today.
You are
That's what you're getting paid for.
with attack.
I want you to know that your own DOJ.
How did Trump's administration not prep her for this? This is a shit show. It's like she woke up out of bed, boogers in her eyes, and just put on a fucking suit and just walked straight in here.
Pimmy sent $7.99. Imagine being a congressperson and having the public expect you to do your job and answer questions properly. Eyes emoji, smiley face emoji.
Yeah, and then you deflect every single fucking question. How dare you expect me to testify at all these? I'm just here to deflect and talk about, but what about Biden though? This ain't about me. What?
Employee, he's recently been demoted and had some other problems, advises on pardons.
She's not being defensive. No, dude, she's not defensive. She's literally incompetent. Incompetent. She can't even be defensive because she's not even defending herself. She's just talking shit out of line, talking back, making a complete fucking mockery. This is crazy.
he will be advising?
Her testimony is going to look like complete shit. This is going to be one of the worst on record of someone who has testified worse than Pam Bondi today.
Mr. Trump on any kind of clemency or pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I'm not going to speculate, and you couldn't even identify properly. That's why you don't want to talk about Irina Zarutska.
Oh, my God.
I
Identify her relative.
I absolutely
it's embarrassing.
Have been, and her family, by the way, appreciates all of the condolences, all of the help, everything that our law enforcement in North Carolina has been doing to help her family. Her family feels well treated. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from California is recognized.
I'd ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article by former Attorney General William P. Barr entitled, "Why Pam Bondi Didn't Publish All the Epstein Files in 30 Days. The answer is simple. It was not possible," from the Wall Street Journal.
Well said. Without objection, the gentlelady from Florida is recognized.
Well said.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam,
I'm sorry.
yes.
You're presiding over one of the largest, most influential cases to the health of this country imaginable. We're talking an international clique, an international ring of sex trafficking that could ensnare and has ensnared multiple high level, from like prime ministers to presidents to royalty, multiple nations all at once in this trap, potential blackmail, all at the behest of what? A Mossad connection, the deep state intelligence agencies. You're presiding over that, and you didn't assign hundreds, thousands of prosecutors working under you to go through all the files, everything, and release everything within 30 days or bring about any prosecutions, anything publicly whatsoever. Instead, this entire time, the head of the administration, the president, has said that the files don't exist. It's a Democrat hoax. And you're wondering why voter apathy is at the levels it is today? Come on. The gaslighting here is out of control. I don't think it's having the effect that they think it's having. She might think she's looking strong up there, good, independent and fighting back with her little porcupine defense strategy and just reflecting. It does not look good. You don't even look like you don't have a good defense. You look stupid as shit.
May I respond 20 seconds to something that Congresswoman Ross said?
Go right ahead.
Thank you. She also opposed a sex offender registry as head of North Carolina ACLU. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Attorney General. And I'd like to pick up where you left off a moment ago, because we convene here today as a committee for the stated purpose of conducting oversight of the Department of Justice. And so it's critical for us to focus first on the mission of the department and assess your success in discharging it. So the mission of the department is to enforce federal law, defend the rule of law, and protect the American people from violent crime, terrorism, drug trafficking, fraud, and exploitation, to promote public safety. And what we have heard today unequivocally is that President Trump's department—
Who wants to bet after this hearing she'll be on Fox News telling everybody how she absolutely crushed all the Democratic questioning and aced her testimony in the oversight hearing? Who wants to bet? They're going to Fox News is going to give her a soft pat on the back, and all the Fox News retards that tune in are just going to see little clips and like, she owned the Dems, the woke Dems. What does Polly Market say on that?
Department of Justice, under your leadership, Attorney General Bondi, is doing exactly that. Just a moment ago, you shared with us some incredible statistics that the United States under your leadership has achieved the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That in the first year of this administration, murder is down 21%, Robbery is down 23%, carjacking down 43%, and gun assault down 22%.
Bondi glaze maxed. Yeah. I hear that sloppy toppy was out of this world.
That is what public safety looks like. Under your leadership and that of President Trump, you've located more than 6,000 child victims of trafficking and exploitation, arrested 1,700 child predators, and apprehended more than 300 human traffickers. Significant increases. And those aren't just statistics. Those are precious lives that your department and the men and women of federal law enforcement have saved. Madam Attorney General, you've mentioned a couple of specific criminal trends during this hearing that I'd like to discuss with you further, because one of our important roles in Congress is making sure that our laws and our law enforcement stay ahead of predators as technology evolves. I lead legislation in the House along with bipartisan co-sponsors on this committee to make sextortion a clearly defined criminal offense. We actually passed that out of the House of Representatives. We have a bill to promote Operation Renewed Hope to help rescue more child victims, and the Defiance Act to provide legal recourse to victims of deepfake AI intimate images. I would love to hear your perspective and what you are seeing related to these technology-based criminal trends, sextortion, and AI deepfakes. What are you seeing at the department?
Who gives a fuck? You're presiding over the most influential case, bro.
Pimmy sent $7 and
oh my
99
God.
cents. At this stage, I recon Pam could deflect, rocket emoji, sent to the US all by herself, straight back at them.
Holy shit. Hey, there's a international potential pedophilia ring that's tied with deep state intelligence agency connections, Mossad, the CIA, maybe something else. Hey, let's talk about the important shit. It has implications for our leaders potentially being blackmailed in heinous cases that involve children. I want to talk today about Chinese juice my gay sons are smoking. And then this one comes out with, hey, I want to talk about gooners on Grok making porn videos with their AI. They're gooning themselves to death in their rooms. What are we going to do about the gooners in the Chinese juice? What is jerky? What does whoops mean? What does whoops mean? Oh, the little girl was praying to Jesus. Jesus will protect her. Whoops. No, we're not going to talk about that. Okay. Let's talk about Grok gooners. And how are we going to protect people? Oh my God.
Of Justice, and why do you believe that efforts to combat these types of crimes are important?
Oh my God. Why are you flipping through pages? Oh shit. Answer the fucking question without having to go through your binder.
Sextortion, and thank you for supporting that, Congresswoman. I think that was a bipartisan effort, actually. I think many of you on both sides of the aisle supported that. Thank you for that. You know, as a career prosecutor, it's horrible seeing that and seeing that young women and often young boys have been exploited.
There are literal victims sitting behind you, you fucking loser. Actual sex trafficked victims standing behind her. Let's talk about AI generated videos for a second here, guys.
With sextortion, and I see, thank you, both sides of the aisle nodding on that. It's horrific. The suicide rates go up, and that's why we have to do everything in our power to protect not only young girls, adult women, boys and men from sextortion, because it is happening and we're doing everything in our power, thanks to your legislation, all of you, to stop that.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about some of the Department of Justice programs like Project Safe Childhood and the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Forces, partnerships that bring...
Hey, why don't you investigate the Epstein files where they were fucking actually kids, right? Why don't you actually investigate the international pedophilia ring if you want to save some kids? This is filler right here. Like this chick, all she does here is filler and kiss ass and giving each other handies about what a great job they've done. Fuck, man. Fuck.
Bring together federal, state, and local law enforcement. Sometimes the work between those...
Hey, what about that dude in Vegas, that Jewish dude, right? Was that in Las Vegas where he got caught? He had some... what was he? What was he? Do you guys remember? He had some diplomatic immunity or some shit. He was in Vegas looking to diddle kids. Somehow he got caught up in an operation in a sting. The only fucking guy in the entire group of diddlers to make it out was the fucking Israeli dude. And he flew his ass right back to Israel real quick. How the fuck? Okay.
Enforcement groups together really creates some incredibly powerful outcomes and some great success stories. I know you, as Florida's Attorney General, had a tremendous amount of leadership in our state trying to make sure we were taking care of children, also the elderly, protecting them from fraud, ending drug trafficking. Tell us a little bit about some of those departments within DOJ.
Yeah, when you talked about Project Safe Neighborhoods, we've done a lot of that in Florida when I was state AG, and actually back when I was a state prosecutor prior to being Attorney General. That is so important. I feel like what we've been doing in DC too, with the Take Back DC and Make DC Safe Again, is similar to that. Going into the neighborhoods, working with the community, seeing law enforcement officers out there.
You're sitting on files of child predators, millions of them. Project Safe Neighborhoods. Project Safe Neighborhoods? How about dismantling the fucking international criminal organization that's trafficking children? Project Safe Neighborhoods. Holy shit.
Playing basketball with kids who live in the neighborhood. It's pretty remarkable what we've seen firsthand. Citizens in Memphis saying that they appreciate, they can walk outdoors now and they feel safe.
Oh, glaze.
People coming up thanking
Gaslight.
law enforcement and working hand in hand with them. We will continue all of these programs and working jointly with both sides of the aisle.
Well, dude, the tone, you see the tone when you're getting glazed and she's just gaslighting America? And we're doing a great job. I don't need my binder when I'm glazing the fuck out of myself and gaslighting all of you idiots. We're working with Project Retard and how this is how we're stopping predators at the neighborhood level. Check this out, though. I got a binder and I got 10,000 tapes of kids getting diddled. It's on my desk. I'll get to it eventually. But listen to me speak about what I'm doing with Project Retard in the neighborhoods. And we're saving the world. Wow.
To keep our families safe.
Thank you for that, Madam Attorney General. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.
Oh, my God.
Gentleman from Tennessee is recognized.
I'd like to introduce for the record a letter to Director Gabbard from Mr. Warner and Mr. Himes.
Real dude.
And a letter of response from her to them about who invited her to Atlanta. And a copy of the search warrant. And I'd also like to just make clear for the record, the reason people in Memphis weren't going out was because the ice was on the ground and we were afraid we'd fall. But other than that, we go out all the time.
Gentlemen,
what
without
the
objection,
fuck?
there's unanimous consent. The gentlelady from Vermont is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney General Bondi, according to your department, a child is sexually abused in the United States every 9 minutes. And the vast majority of survivors never get justice. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Epstein case has resonated so deeply with so many Americans. And the other reason, I think, is because it has revealed a two-tiered system of justice. and the powerful are protected, and the survivors rarely get any accountability. And the Epstein files contain evidence of a multi-decade international criminal conspiracy involving some of the wealthiest and the most powerful people
He's
in the
part
world.
of Project Retard.
There's evidence of financial crimes, political corruption, sex trafficking, and of course, horrible sexual abuse. And I want to remind everybody, this isn't a game. These are real people, people who have suffered, who are sitting here with us today, and they deserve answers, and they deserve accountability. And I'm here to try to get some for them. Now, I've seen some of the unredacted Epstein files, and obviously, as you know, President Trump's name is all over them, but so are the names of other senior Trump officials: Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce; John Phelan, the Secretary of the Navy; and Stephen Feinberg, the Deputy Secretary of Defense. These men were appointed by President Trump to senior positions in his administration. All of them have clear and confirmed ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
So on Lutnick, I saw a post, by the way, that said this. This guy said, "It's now painfully obvious Howard Lutnick is Donald Trump's handler." And listen to this. Of course, not substantiated, and this is a guy's theory, of course. And I'm not saying it's true. I have to say that for YouTube, of course. And he's got bullet points of Howard Lutnick. He's the guy who survived 9/11 due to son's kindergarten day. The guy who forced an Israeli loyalty test on the White House staff. The guy who just happened to be Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor. What are the fucking odds? The guy who lied about cutting ties with Epstein in 2005. Big oops there. The guy who visited Epstein Island with his 4 kids in 2012. The guy who thinks covering for pedophiles is funny. But sure, keep telling yourself Trump is in charge. Now, have you ever seen a commerce secretary in every single fucking video behind Trump over his shoulder when he's speaking? When is the last time you've seen a commerce secretary so visible from the administration? Who is the commerce secretary of Biden? And how often did you see him?
General Bondi, yes or no, has the Justice Department asked Secretary Lutnick about his ties to Epstein?
Excuse me. Secretary Lutnick has addressed those ties himself.
I'm asking you, has the Justice Department specifically asked Secretary Lutnick about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein?
He has addressed those ties himself.
Has the DOJ asked Secretary Phelan about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't know whether he has addressed those or not.
Has the Deputy Secretary Feinberg talked to the Department of Justice about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein? Yes or no? Has the Department of Justice talked to Deputy Secretary Feinberg about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, which are clearly spelled out in the files? It's a very simple question. It's not a trick question. I'm just asking you.
Yeah, I'm stunned that you want to continue talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Epstein
Okay, I'm recording my time.
She's just trying to establish a link between what the Department of Justice knows about co-conspirators or other potential criminals and their ties within the administration, and if the DOJ was able to police itself by, hey, maybe questioning Lutnick and what he's doing in all these files. Fuck.
I'm asking you not a trick question, a simple question. Okay, so what is clear is we have evidence.
Do you know who Chris Malin is?
We have evidence that 3 senior officials within the Trump administration have ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And what
does ties mean?
I can conclude from what you are saying that.
What does ties mean? They're literally co-conspirators. Multiple emails. Ties? What does ties mean? 4,000 ties? How many thousands, hundreds at least, does your name appear in the file? What does ties mean? Or are you just playing retarded now? Ties? What does ties mean, guys? The Dow is at 50,000. This can't be real. This can't. This is insane. This is the worst testimony ever. Ever. The ties, but the Chinese juice. The ties. What about digital porn? What ties? Don't we have better things to talk about, like the greatest president in history of America? Let me look through my binder first before I answer a question.
You have not talked to them.
What does ties mean? Can
I
you
think
define
Americans would be shocked to learn that you are not interested in talking with these officials who have ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
What does
across
ties
the
mean?
world,
Can you define that?
across the world,
Can you
prominent
define
men
ties?
who've been exposed in the files have resigned their jobs in disgrace, and that's a good first start. And that same
Disgrace is
standard,
not saying the word
this
Chris
same
Malin.
standard should apply here. And Americans want accountability.
Who is Chris Malin?
Was the president aware? Please stop talking. It is not your time to ask questions. It is not your time. I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. Chair.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Vermont.
Was the president aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin.
Hey, bro, you wanna look more defensive and guilty? Don't do that. Don't sit there like this. Body language is like 70% of communication. Don't sit there all fucking defended up and then mention the fucking Dow. This is, wow, we're all-time bad performances. If she keeps her job after this, Trump is fucking finished. The Republicans are finished. Finished. This is a national embarrassment. Republicans are going to have to rebuild the image after this shit show for the next 6 months. The constituency is just going to be asking simple questions. Why is she so inept? Why is she so unprepared? Why is she so defensive? Why can't she ask or answer simple questions? Where have any arrests been? We have 0 arrests. At least some arrests. What state is the prosecutions in? Are we going to get something in the next couple of months? Nothing. She literally mentioned the Dow and the S&P. I want you guys to think about that for a second. This has damaged the establishment far more. The Trump administration he's got to be seething and fuming watching this shit. I'm telling you, in private, he's tweeting up a storm. They're probably blocking him from tweeting. No, this is not a good look at all.
Was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so I'm going to conclude that the president, in fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
this
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic.
beautiful
This is
state.
pathetic, Mr.
Committee
Chair.
will be in order.
I am not asking trick questions here.
You
The
got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
Thank you.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell.
Oh, fuck.
By 2008, we knew that Epstein was a convicted sexual abuser. And we now know that Lutnick went to Epstein's Island in 2012. How was that not a deal breaker for the president? And why aren't you asking questions of the Commerce Secretary about what he saw when he was at the island, which he lied about not ever going to? Why are you not asking these questions? And I see that my time is almost expired, so I will say this. Do the right thing, Attorney General. Meet with the survivors. They have been asking for a year. Meet with the survivors. Do the right thing. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for 5 minutes.
May I have 20 seconds of his time?
So that'd be up to the gentleman, but.
Absolutely, Madam
Thank you. Thank you. I was curious if you, Congresswoman, asked Bill Clinton that.
Wow, dude, no fucking way. No way. No way you played that same card again. You can't be serious. You can't. Oh my Lord, dude. That face the wall. Face the wall. This can't. It can't be serious now. Now Now we're entering the realm of incredulous bullshit. Now this is like the Twilight Zone. There's no fucking way you got verbally wrecked. And your comeback was switch to binder, page 3. What about Bill Clinton? Read facts. Read bullet points. No fucking way. They're impeaching Trump, dude. I'm telling you, this is... The midterms are done. He's getting impeached. This is crazy. She's burning down the administration.
I didn't see one tweet, not one. I didn't see one tweet when Joe Biden was in office about Bill Clinton.
Holy shit.
Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once when he was...
Weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to...
Oh my God, you getting fucking memed. You're getting fucking memed, bro. The Dems, it's over. They're cooking their asses. Weak sauce. When you're getting dunked on by the Dems, you're fucking cooked. It's over. Weak sauce. Weak sauce. That's all you had to say. You got it. You got it, sis. You got it. Weak sauce. I don't even have X up right now, but I could tell you there's a million fucking tweets streaming just weak sauce. Oh, she's getting fucking fried, dude. Obliterated. Not cooked. Atomized. Holy shit. Getting hit with ray guns. Weak sauce. Fuck.
Reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
he
is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust?
Oh, no way, dude. Me mom in the holly. We fucking made it. Weak sauce. Me mom. No, dude. She opened up a can of me mums. Oh, shit. The Victim Olympics.
Really?
The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared Wise about anti-Semitism.
The ranking member knows that.
Can I get like 30 seconds back? I
think the whole committee knows. I've been very generous in making sure everyone gets their 5 minutes in the same.
General, I'm going to talk about sanctuary cities for a second, which limit the federal government's ability to enforce immigration law. They're kind of a new.
Right, I'm watching Jerry Springer right now. This is crazy.
New thing that Democrat jurisdictions are doing. They're in violation of federal law. During President Trump's first term, he rightly...
Pimmy sent $7.99. My conclusion, Pam's actually working for the other side to bring Trump down. Smiley face emoji. Her response is no, you.
Right? Is she double agenting this shit? This is like double agent shit right here. Fucking weak sauce. Me mom!
Targeted sanctuary jurisdictions to try to force them to cooperate with federal immigration law. Federal immigration law, mind you, that was voted on in 1996, most recently, in a bipartisan Congress, signed by a Democrat president.
Wow.
But they are in violation of that law. These states and jurisdictions feel entitled to certain grants, of course. Y'all are combating that. Do sanctuary policies limit the federal government's ability to accurately estimate how many criminal illegals are in the country?
Yes.
Thank you. This means that the number of illegals could be higher, probably higher. Does this hurt the federal government's ability to carry out immigration laws designed by Congress?
Yes, Congressman.
In your opinion, do you believe that the Biden-Harris administration and Democrat pro-sanctuary policies make our communities safer and for the American taxpayer? Do sanctuary policies make our communities safer?
No, Congressman.
She's not gonna fuck you, bro. God. Simps.
Of good values. You weaponize the Department of Justice to target immigrants, working families, and anyone that Trump deems an enemy of the state. All to protect.
Yeah, who had weak sauce? Damn, man, if we knew, if we had foresight, Nostradamus. Weak sauce is going to get uttered twice. I would have bet the fucking house on that. Ugh.
Protect real powerful criminals, including in your administration. My Democratic colleagues have focused on your cover-up of the Epstein files and your passion for protecting pedophiles and child traffickers. That alone is grounds for impeachment. But there's so much more to your corrupt tenure as Attorney General.
Is Fox really not covering any of this? Ooh, you know it's bad optics.
You directed prosecutors to investigate elected officials in welcoming jurisdictions, and you got thrown out of court when you sued Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois. You directed prosecutors to prioritize low-level immigration cases while gutting enforcement against corporate criminals and public corruption. You revived draconian law of 1798, which should be repealed to illegally send people to a torture prison in El Salvador. You fired over 100 immigration judges, including the assistant chief immigration judge in Chicago, without cause, and installed unqualified military judges whom you instructed to deny asylum in violation of the law. You prosecute the president's enemies like Jim Comey and Tish James while giving impunity to federal agents who are murdering and brutalizing.
Maduro's redemption arc? What's he doing here? Boys, get on Kick if you haven't. We'll end the stream when the meeting ends, and I think it's going to end shortly. And we'll be getting on Kick later tonight. I'm not going to get on probably YouTube later tonight, but I'll get on Kick. We'll see.
And terrorizing constituents, including in Chicagoland, in my neighborhood. I saw it last year firsthand. You and Kash Patel covered up the murder of Silverio Villegas Gonzalez in my district by ICE agents. You tried to investigate Renee Good instead of the ICE agent who murdered her, and you tried to cover up the murder of Alex Peretti by CBP agents. You bring fake charges against protesters like the Broadview Six. And
I don't even care what the fuck this guy has to say, obviously. But I want to see her response.
Marimar Martinez, whom your administration labeled a domestic terrorist. This is the Montessori teacher who lives in my district, while protecting thugs who terrorize us and DHS authority. That's what you do. Protect and enable the criminals who are plundering our society and destroying what's left of democracy.
Okay, shut the fuck up.
He's not running for office again because, well, I don't know why you're not running for office again, but after the filing deadline, you publicly announced you would not run when your chief of staff, Patty Garcia, announced and took your seat.
That's a state matter. That isn't a federal matter. You should investigate crimes.
You should investigate violations of the law. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas.
And a little flexibility on the time. I appreciate the chairman. Madam Attorney General, am I correct that under your leadership, the Department of Justice has prosecuted cases of non-citizen voting? So it's false, as some of my Democratic colleagues have claimed, that it doesn't happen.
Yes.
I ask that today because we're voting on the Save America Act today to enact common sense policies to ensure only American citizens vote in American elections and enact federal voter ID laws. But it's true, for example, that in just this month, a federal grand jury in Newark indicted 2 men with illegally voting in federal election and making false statements. Mohammed Muzammil and Mohammed Shakil were non-citizens at the time they registered to vote. This happens, it happens regularly.
At what point do you charge these people? Like, do people demand treason charges for our politicians? This is clearly treason, right? At what point do you see that the corruption is so bad that treason is all that is on the mind of the populace? If the people don't see this and treason, corruption, rot, I don't know what it's going to take. Impeachment? We're past impeachment. This is clearly treasonous.
And you're prosecuting those crimes, correct?
Yes.
But does that prosecution of those criminals overturn their previously cast votes?
That's all pending.
But it does not overturn votes that they've cast, right? So passing the Save America Act would help deal with that.
At Cameron Wright 7,341 cent $4.99. Breaking, TXS base closed.
Is there
Massive
really?
drone incursion from Mexico W/drugs/guns. I thought we got the boat's thought.
What? Is that really happening?
Problem.
Yes, Congressman.
Second question. As Attorney General, you're in charge of the Executive Office of Immigration Review, correct?
Yes, Congressman.
The Biden-Mayorkas regime caused the immigration court case backlog to explode, correct?
Explode.
Does that sound about right that in September of 2020, 4 months before President Biden took office, there was a backlog of 1.5 million cases, but by the time President Biden left office, the backlog reached nearly 4.2 million cases?
It sounds about right, but I don't have the exact numbers.
It would be accurate to say that most individuals who file for asylum have a meritless or fraudulent claim?
Most. I don't have the numbers.
Oh, so does it sound correct that of the asylum cases adjudicated in FY 2023 under the Biden regime, that only 14% resulted in an asylum grant and only 12% in fiscal year 2024? Does that sound correct?
It sounds correct. I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers.
Could you get that information to us to
Yes,
verify
absolutely.
that data?
I'll get all that information to you.
Under the Trump administration, immigration judges complete an average of 65,000 cases per month, the highest average completion rate in at least a decade. Does that sound correct?
That sounds correct.
Ms. Bondi, how many new cases under EOIR received in fiscal year 2025 have you all had? And of those, what percentage have been granted asylum? Do you know?
I can try to get you those numbers. I thought I had those.
That'd be great, because my question is whether President Trump's decision to pause asylum in the wake of the shooting of a National Guardsman by an Afghani here in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital, helped to stop the backlog in your office. Does that sound correct?
Yes, Congressman.
My point being that the leadership of this administration is ending the backlog, reducing the backlog, making sure that we don't have fraudulent asylum claims clogging it. And
dude, she sounds so defeated now. Her energy is way down. It's just like, yes, Congressman. Yes, yes, Congressman. Yes. Thank you for glazing me a little bit after that verbal beatdown, after the weak sauce. This is like her bit of reprieve before more weak sauce is
keeping
coming up.
Americans safe, is that correct?
Yes, Congressman.
So a couple other quick questions on another important topic that has been raised by colleagues on both sides of the aisle with respect to the Epstein case. A few questions. One, Jeffrey Epstein was charged in July 2019 for sex trafficking under the Trump administration in his first term. Is that correct?
Yes, Congressman.
And that Ghislaine Maxwell was charged in 2020 also under the Trump administration, correct?
Yes, Congressman.
So it is safe to say that the administration led on that issue and that there was silence in the previous administration. Is that correct?
Yes, Congressman. Almost complete silence from everyone who's been trying to still talk about Epstein. They didn't say a word under the Biden administration. Nothing.
And I want to make one other point and then another.
Dude, take some fucking responsibility. Zero accountability. You're the head. You are in the position to make progress and break new ground on this. Why is it that it's always an excuse? Always an excuse. But they didn't ask them. No one was talking to them about these problems. You're the head of the fucking DOJ. Oh my Lord.
Question, though, that is important. I want to make one observation, that is that we've heard the information today, which is troubling, that Jane Doe's, that victims' information was made public and was unredacted in the files that were released on Friday. So my question is, some of us had argued when we were dealing with the discharge petition in Congress, that when Congress inserted itself into the process, that we needed to be very careful to ensure.
All right, glazing the
should
fuck.
have been meaning a victim. We went back and redacted.
Let's see.
Good morning, Attorney General Bondi.
Good afternoon.
Oh, you're right. Good afternoon. It's been a long day. I wrote this morning. We've known each other a long time.
Is this
And
more
I'll
glazing?
always be appreciative for your assistance when you were Attorney General in Florida after the shooting at
more
my high
glazing.
school at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
We do not have on the paperwork whether that person is a legal or illegal immigrant. Okay? If I go to one of my local sheriffs in Wisconsin and ask them how many illegal immigrants in your jail, they will say, I have no idea. We don't keep track of that. When I tour the federal prison right outside of my district, and I ask them, in this federal prison, how many of your inmates are illegal aliens, they will tell me, we have no idea. We don't keep track of that. So whenever you hear a Democrat or anybody,
Oh my God, glazing. Come on.
You commit right here to immediately providing those two documents in unredacted form to members of Congress. Not a complicated question.
Well, I guess it is for you because you have a law degree and those are privileged.
What the fuck?
Okay, they're not privileged, but we will discuss that later. I also found an email that I have right here from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell that was unredacted, and it included notes of statements that Donald Trump...
This is why DEI is a bad idea. This is why you cannot put women in positions of power. This is why merit-based systems are the only ones that could possibly survive. We have weak sauce as our AG. AG, weak sauce. Can't cook up shit. Doesn't deserve to be there. Cannot arrest anybody. Nothing ever happens is coming true. Super defensive. Seems inept, incompetent, and super catty, and talks back like a child, like a high school girl, thinking that she's the one actually winning the argument, burning down the administration around her. This is on the shoulders of Trump, by the way. He's the one who hired her. He greenlit everything. What does that say about Trump if he put her in this position? He's the one that vetted her for AG and wanted her. And if he wasn't, and if there was somebody speaking in his ear, making the decisions for him, what does that say about Trump's ability to make decisions about his own personnel? How do you put Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, people like this around you? Yeah, Kristi Noem. 3 inept people that are making it harder for you to, quote, institute the policies that you ran on. Just a question.
Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege, there is no attorney-client privilege, and I see you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you unredact this? Will you unredact this?
You were lead counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Privileged, of course. I look forward to discussing this more. Now, these are obviously improper redactions.
Well, and let me stop for a minute.
I'm talking.
If they're not privileged,
quiet.
Don't yell at me. If they're not
Mr. Chairman, would you stop the clock? This is on your time. It's not on Mr. Goldman.
They're not
Even though you used your improper redactions,
you'll like my answer.
To continue to protect
time belongs to the member.
We'll be happy to release them.
Yeah, we'll stop the clock. We'll stop the clock. Time belongs to the member. Go ahead.
Even though you used improper redactions to protect Donald Trump and other predators associated with Jeffrey Epstein, you did the exact opposite thing with the survivors and victims of this scheme. So their identification information was really the only thing required to be redacted, and it was not. And it's clear this was not a mistake. This was not by accident. This was not because you only had 30 days when you really used 75, and that doesn't even include all the hours last March that you were redacting it. But I'll tell you why it's clear it wasn't a mistake. There is an email entitled Epstein Victim List. There are 32 names. 1 is redacted, 31 are not. So someone looked at it and decided to redact something. And I will tell you that that is clearly intentional to intimidate these survivors and victims. Now, in an interview last week...
How will you tell me that's intentional?
In an interview last week, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche...
You can't go off script.
...said that any victim that wants to speak with the department has...
Hold on. No, she didn't just say he can't go off script. No fucking way you brought that one out. Off script. No, you didn't, sis. What have we been watching for 3 hours? Oh, shit. The gaslighting. That's a Freudian slip right there. Oh, my lordy. Or Freudian slip, if you'd prefer. Off script. He can't go off script. Look at this fucking retard. He's got to read his fucking tablet. Wow.
Done so, hopefully.
Wow.
Well, thanks to...
Bro, the ego. Woo, just like... That's crazy. How do these people get in these positions of power? Am I crazy? This is... How do these people get up?
Nicholas Phelps 3,872 sent $5. Studies show people are physically attracted to people who look like their opposite gender parents. In-group preference is natural. Pass on more genes.
I look at our leaders, guys. Thanks, brother, for the 5. If these guys could do it, why couldn't I? Why couldn't we? This is crazy. You know, competency, capability, ability doesn't matter for these people. Knee pads matter. Brown noses matter.
The incredibly brave people sitting here behind you, we can actually ask them if that's true. Now, would the survivors and victims who are here please stand up one more time?
Stop telling these poor people to stand up.
Just by show of hands, how many of you...
They got fucking tortured for 3 hours. And you're going to make them stand up again. Oh, man, come on.
Or your loved ones actually have met with the Department of Justice and provided testimony and estimate and evidence? None.
Knee maxing.
And of those of you who have not met, which is everyone, how many of you have reached out either individually or through a lawyer or representative to offer to provide testimony and evidence? All of them. And of those of you, all of you who have reached out, how many of you were denied or ignored by the Department of Justice? All of them. And despite the shameful and despicable efforts by Ms. Bondi and her department to intimidate you, how many of you are still willing to speak to the Department of Justice? All of them. Well, Ms. Bondi, it looks like you have some more witnesses to talk to.
Gentleman's time has expired.
And I yield back.
We will go to the good gentleman from North Carolina, Congressman Knott. Thank you.
May I have a moment, Congressman?
No, you may not. You're going to say a bunch of fucking treason maxing, knee maxing, deflection maxing.
Thank you. Here we go. Here's the photograph. This is why he wanted to repeat everything that had been said previously on Epstein. This is his state, New York. You probably don't even know who this is. Wahid Mohammed from Afghanistan.
Looks like Mom Dami.
Yes, because I'm no longer a prosecutor.
Convicted of assault. Wow, he represents New York. Wow, yet he doesn't care about the illegal aliens convicted of crimes.
Dude, you have literal victims right behind you that offered testimony, that contacted the FBI and the department you're heading, and you didn't talk to them yet. Deflect maxing right here, no?
Assault and homicide. No longer a prosecutor, so he doesn't care about his constituents. Here we go. Arson, El Salvador, Miguel Palacios.
Talking about a fucking script, right? Jeez, performative theater at best, yeah.
Furman
Woman
Flores
maxing.
Ramales,
Look, she's blaming all men. You see that shit?
Mexico, rape.
Let's talk about the 70% of immigrants who are detained without a criminal conviction or arrest.
Stop the clock. Stop the clock. Time belongs to Congressman Knott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Attorney General, I want to be sure that the American people understand exactly what we're referring to when we talk about sanctuary policies. They are often framed in sort of innocuous terms like, we refuse to take part in immigration law. And when you add up all of the population represented by these cowardly politicians in sanctuary jurisdictions, whether it's a county, city, or state.
Not, but yes.
Good.
Yes.
You see her tone, dude. Do you catch that difference? Look.
are down nearly 20% over the last year.
Yes.
True or false?
Yes.
Violent crime is down almost 15% over the past year.
Yes.
True.
Yes. Hey, you would have lost the bet. We got fucked. So if we went on Polymarket and she answered yes, no, we got in the last like 20 minutes of this.
True or false? Right here in Washington, D.C., violent crime is down almost 30% since President Trump took office.
Yes, and the number may be even better than that, but yes.
Good.
Yes.
True or false?
Wow. Hey, performative femininity, right? Would you look at that? Nice, soft, sweet.
False. The DEA has seized over 200,000 kilograms of cocaine since President Trump took office.
I believe so, and
who the fuck is over there whispering cocaine?
78,500 kilos of meth and more than 260,000 kilos of cocaine.
Unbelievable.
That's lives saved every day for all of us, for
Absolutely.
families, for children.
And then true or false, the Department of Justice under your leadership has a 92% success rate at the Supreme Court?
I believe so.
Or ballpark.
Ballpark.
And then true or false, this administration is attacking the waste, fraud, and abuse that we have seen in places like Minnesota that is removing billions of hard-earned tax dollars.
All right.
Officer
Is she gonna
of
glaze?
this country. So do you believe that President Trump is honest?
He is the commander-in-chief of the United States of
do you
America,
believe
and
that
not only
President
is
Trump
he
is
keeping
honest?
this country safe,
Do you
he
believe
is keeping
he is
this
honest?
world
It's
safe.
a simple question,
Of
which
course
you didn't
I do.
answer.
He is the
Okay, thank you.
commander-in-chief.
Last June, Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman, her husband Mark, and their dog were brutally murdered in their home. And your USA's office in Minnesota investigated this crime and obtained a 6-count indictment of the murder suspect, stating that he had intent to kill, injury, harass, and intimidate Minnesota legislators. And I have the copy right here. I read through it. Yet a few weeks ago, President Trump suggested publicly that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was behind these murders, posting on his Truth Social account a video raising this conspiracy theory. And it wasn't true. And you know it wasn't true, or else you would not have brought an indictment against the subject. Do you know what else Trump has said? He has said he has cut gas prices by 1,400%. False. That he won the 2020 election.
Actually, gas is down to $1.99 a gallon, thanks to
That he
President
didn't
Trump.
know Epstein.
Maybe $5 in California.
It's my time, Mr. Chair. That he sent water to LA during the wildfires. False. That Governor Westmore of Maryland called him the greatest president of his lifetime. False. So many tales, too many to keep up. But I want to go back
Glazing
to
wars.
what he said about Tim Walz. Do you agree that President Trump undermined public trust in law enforcement by suggesting that Governor Walz was involved in the Hortman murders?
I am not familiar with that statement.
Well, that is a disappointing response, and it is also why your office and Donald Trump have zero credibility, because I know, and you know, it was a right-wing extremist who murdered the Hortmans. And you and the president are being dishonest with the American people. Last fall, after the horrific shooting of Charlie Kirk, President Trump was asked if there were extremists on.
Oh my God,
And
bro.
she's not talking about any crime in her districts, nothing about helping crime in her district. She's not even worth getting into the details.
Well, thank you, Madam Attorney General, and we are grateful to have you here today. And let me just say that
is this more glazing?
You've shown great perseverance.
Yep.
They were, quote, gearing up for a resistance.
Peak feminism, totally. Yeah. The sisterhood is strong after this one.
They entered a house of worship, and I think the video speaks for itself. What happened in there, what the
Introduce into the record the research that Representative Kamlager-Dove and I referenced concerning the threat of right-wing domestic terrorism.
Dismiss. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job.
One thing she said correct. I agree with sister here.
You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested.
Next, can't hear you.
Texas, convicted for kidnapping.
Holy fuck, she's busting out more of these fucking... We're not serious country. We're done. Cooked. Hey. Who wants to place a poly market bet how much longer America's got?
Rape. Khalid Khan from Afghanistan. That's why they want to talk about Epstein and not what's happening in their own states.
Thank you, General, and thank you for being here.
Dude, 3 hours of deflections. This is crazy.
Harris DOJ target pro-life Catholics, going so far as to interview a priest and a choir director.
Yes.
Did the Biden-Harris DOJ...
Oh my God.
Jason...
I could just tell by the tone of her voice, this is a glaze.
FBI SWAT teams to arrest pro-life advocates with no criminal histories.
Yes.
Did the...
It's over. The glaze. It's like unfathomable, dude. Did I make a mistake coming back? Where the fuck do you go? I need to escape somewhere. I need to get away. Where do I get away from these fucking people, dude? Do I go to
Fresh
Mars?
Media 15 cent $4.99. Shy TEE.
Thanks, brother. Fucking hell.
Biden-Harris DOJ used the FACE Act to target pro...
Garland had issued. And
keep the people of America safe. And that's what he's done. He has given our law enforcement officers the tools that they need and the backing that they need, the support that they need to combat violent crime and all crime throughout this country. And, you know, I'd be remiss, we've talked about the FBI, we've talked about DEA a bit, but can I please brag about ATF?
No, you don't brag. You resign. We get someone that's actually willing to prosecute child diddlers. How about that? How about we want that? Oh, shit. I've had enough. I think that was the end of it, guys. We got tortured. Yep, that was the end of it. We got tortured for 3 hours with deflection, gaslighting, glazing, incompetence, cat fights, me mums, hollies, and weak sauces. This is the oversight hearing over Epstein. Welcome to America in 2026. Unbelievable. I thought it was going to be extremely boring, as most oversight hearings are. Maybe some explosive information, but this was a complete fucking shit show. Wow. Honestly, it gets you dejected, right? This is like demoralization here. The incompetence is demoralizing. That's how I could describe it. My confidence in our government has shot to fucking negative numbers. Will I stream some games? I don't know. I thought about it. I have a Mac, so I could only play whatever Macs can play. And the only game that I saw from Steam that I played was Dota 2, and I don't think people want to watch that shit. So, or I would game with guys on stream. It'd be funny. I'd have to get carried because I suck, but whatever. Yeah. Wonder if the KGB knew this was going to happen. Yeah. Well, you guys, it's been nice. I got to go get something to eat before we have a call in the private community. And we may stream later. Let me put this up. It'll be on Kick. So go subscribe on Kick if you haven't. Stream smoother, easier to support there. Notifications actually work. And yeah, you don't get censored as much. Oh. It's free. Signing up for Kick is free. It costs absolutely nothing. Yeah. It costs nothing. You guys could sign up same way you sign up for every other service with your email directly. Boom, log in. You got an account. You don't even need an account. You just get on Kick anyways. It's free. They have an app just like YouTube does on your app store for whatever you have. Android, iPhone, doesn't matter. It's all working. There you go. I'll post it one more time. I can't believe what we just witnessed. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy, dude. This is the state of our society today. These are our leaders, by the way. These are the most capable among us, as they say. This is what we're told. That you rise to the top based on your own merit. That based on your hard work, that you will earn one of these positions of influence where you can make a difference. And the difference you're making is literally protecting criminals and pedophiles. Amazing. Cheers to you too, brother. Black pill maxing now? Yeah. The script. You went off script. He can't go off script. Literally can't say a word without checking your binder. Dude, she had like a hit list on her binder. Her entire binder, if you noticed, was like a hit list for every single Democrat that was going to question her. Did you see that shit? It had like the names of everybody there. And she's just like, when Massey comes, she'll like go to Massey's folder and be like, this is what he voted for. This is what. So your entire strategy at this hearing was to attack the people that were questioning you and just looking for answers. Wow, dude, great. That's going to play real nice in the public sphere, yeah? Unreal. Everyone's demoralized. Yeah. Well, at least we got to see what a shit show it really is at the top. Now there is no surprises anymore. You cannot say, you know, you didn't know. Hey, we're being too hard on them. Hey, it's just really, no. They are incompetent. They are covering for criminals. They are complicit. They are also inept. And they don't give a fuck about you and will lie to your face. Exactly. That's a good point. This was all on a public forum. Imagine what's actually going on behind the scenes. Yeah. To come to such a hearing so unprepared and quite literally your strategy is to attack everybody questioning you is just... I would love to be a fly on the wall of the administration having a closed door meeting about this hearing and what they're saying. I don't think Trump has much political capital left. He's going to have to blow it on Israel and Iran. That's all he has. He's going to have to go full throttle with Israel on everything they want because America's turned his back. It's a complete shit show. There is no more MAGA. MAGA has completely fractured off. It's dead. Trump buried it. Trump was like the ignition to the populist movement, but he doesn't have what it takes to carry that torch. He just got everybody thinking about nationalism and patriotism but he's not the guy. Clearly, he doesn't have the follow-through required for any of the policies. He doesn't have the correct people around him. They can't institute anything. He cares too much about public opinion in the polls. And so he walks back policy, and this is what's blowing up in his face. Yeah. You don't even have to say he's controlled. He's just inept, dude. He's a public figure. He was a dude on a TV show. The government machine requires far more finesse than he has. He's a great talker. He's a great debater. He's got good one-liners. The moronic masses vote that shit in. You give people these little labels and you get 3-second sound bites, low energy Ted and all that shit. You're fired. There you go. Which is great. So he understands the idiot masses. And that's what worked. Unfortunately, when it comes to governance and follow through and planning and implementing, there's no skill set in this administration for any of that. They're just hobbling together a bunch of shit with like duct tape, and this is what you're seeing. This is the fallout of all that. Yeah, we haven't had statesmen in a while. I'll put the link up to Kick one more time, guys, and then we'll call it. Thank you. Yeah, but the Maduro capture is completely irrelevant. Remember, even Bondi said that it's China shipping precursor into Mexico where they have all the factories that are making the fentanyl that's killing us, right? The whole reigniting the war on drugs thing. The entire... That was like what predicated the whole capture Maduro thing, right? That's what they used as justification. Drugs. Well, okay, what the fuck? Mexico's the one that's killing us. So, yeah. What do you think the election will look like? I think we're going to get a blue wave. I think Republicans, at least MAGA or whatever you want to say, this coalition has completely fallen apart. The coalition is dead. You know, because Trump brought in people like RFK. He brought in other Democrats, ex-Democrats. I think that coalition's dead. And MAGA is in shambles. The fell for it again is no longer a funny meme of you just not getting a little bit here and there. It's just, that's over with. It's betrayal now. There is no fell for it again. It's just full out betrayal. How do you get a people that feel betrayed to go back and vote for you? Their numbers look like shit. All Democrats have to do is pump the brakes on the radical wing of their progressive politics. Stop demonizing white men. Start being inclusive of white people, probably. Tone down the fucking rhetoric on pronouns and trans and all that shit. Come back more towards the center. If they get a hold on that, it's fucking over. It's over, dude. Yeah. Is it even betrayal when the truth is so obvious? Well, look, in hindsight. In hindsight, yes, it is betrayal. Because if you remember what he ran on and the energy during the election and the promises, and we're going to come back 100%. That's how you get the mandate that you got. That's how he got the numbers he got. A lot of people really deep down inside believed, hey, dude, we were getting like the Avengers team. He had so many he had a coalition government forming. Like, make America healthy again. You know, he had, who else? Who was was it a congresswoman or senator from Hawaii? What's her name? I can't remember. She was a big Democrat, and now she's working at, what department? She's uncovering all that voter fraud shit. The Democrats were on her ass for switching. God, I can't remember her name. Tulsi Gabbard. Yep, there you go. Tulsi. So he had Tulsi, RFK. He had all these people coming in that weren't establishment Republicans. This populist movement. Dude, it felt different is what people told you. Remember? That was the feeling in there. This time it's different, though. Look at who he brought in. This time things are going to change. I would say that from this in 2016, this feels like a far greater betrayal to the base than 2016 ever did. 2016, you could have made the excuse that he was hampered by his own people in the administration. Like, they hated him. The deep state was working against him. The own people in his own government were working, his own administration were slowing him down. He didn't know what he was doing. And the establishment wanted him out. Even Republicans weren't supporting him in 2016. He had to whip everybody in line. There was like a massive fracture between MAGA and Republicans. He managed to consolidate all of that this time around. So this time around, he consolidated all the Republicans, most of them. The party was fully behind him. The Democrats were in shambles because they couldn't put up anything decent after Biden. Their whole 4 years were a complete joke. He was asleep at the wheel. Optics were awful. The radical liberal policies and rhetoric was just pushing even moderates away. And then now you come into this like ascendant Trump with a populist government that is former Democrats forming this crazy coalition that seems like it's something in the air was different. So he got an incredible, like, historic mandate, and it all fell apart in like 6 months. Fell apart horribly. Yeah. So betrayal, yeah, man. I think people feel far beyond betrayed. I think people are going to start thinking like treason and captured government and this is all fake and gay. Voting doesn't matter. Like, you're going to get complete apathy. You're going to get a rejection of the system. You're going to get people that are going to just sit at home. It's not looking good, to be completely honest. And how do you recharge the base? Midterms? I don't think you do. How do you spend the last 2 years of Trump's administration before you, what? How do you recharge people? How do you prepare people for the presidential election? So you're going to bring in all these people and get them excited to vote for Vance or Rubio, most likely. And how do you get people excited to vote for Vance or Rubio when the Trump administration burned down MAGA? Yeah. No, I think the neocons are in control. Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, the people, this was like the last chance, right? People put their vote in and was like, I hope he saves us. This is going to be different. It wasn't. Turns out the system's way more corrupt than you ever thought possible. Yeah. Anyways, we'll catch you guys on Kick. Maybe later tonight. If not tomorrow, for sure, we'll do another stream. We'll see. I don't have a set schedule yet, guys. I'm working on it. I'd like to stream much longer. I like to do streaming more consistent. Like 6-hour streams, shit like that. It's just brutal, dude. Yeah, you have to... Without playing games and filling up dead time, like dicking around on fucking Arc Raiders or some shit, it's hard to do streams that are half of the day. I don't know. I don't know how the fuck other people do it. I got to get up, move around. I don't like sitting in a chair that long. Yeah. The KCIP hits though. Yeah, it does. Maybe, we'll see. Yeah, I'd like to turn it into more of a show like I did a couple times before where I have like monologues and talk about specific topics. I really like two of my favorite episodes from a while back were the Alpha Gal with Bill Gates. Well, actually, I have a couple of them that were my favorite, but Alpha Gal with Bill Gates and like that Sweden piece that ended up going viral on Reddit with the immigrants. It just takes a while to do all that research and prepare everything. Anyways, that'll do it. Remember, boys, go to gym, eat clean, get good sleep. It's all you really can do. You are in control of your life. No politician's coming to save you. Don't make things harder than they need to be. Build good habits, because time, stress, pressure, they all come. It is inevitable as long as you're breathing. So make sure you fall back on good habits when things get rough out there. Okay? And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, you guys.